Welcome to From a Certain Point of Skew, the only Star Wars podcast to provide 60% of knowledge, mostly because we can't remember anything. I am one of your hosts, Jason the Ginger Jedi Guy, broadcasting live from inside Wookiee Poo Studios. I'm not alone. Please allow me to take a minute to introduce your favorite wretched scum scoundrels. And I was going to say villains, but we're going to go with smugglers. Was my cadence
You're very clipped
too
for
much?
some reason. I was wondering what you're trying to do. I've never heard someone speak with an Oxford comma before. That was interesting.
I woke up this morning shitting Oxford commas, so I had to share them with the show. No, I just thought I would, try something different. I like to, right away catch you off your game.
The best thing to do is when we're going live, just try to experiment as much as you can. Speaking
of live, we have to talk about that. We won't do that now. We'll do that after the show, but we should maybe discuss whether we want to go live on YouTube from now on.
Oh, okay.
Because I paid a pretty penny for the package because Kyle hit the wrong button. So I now have the annual package. So I'm good to go.
Will host a null.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's a nice little perk for the studio, yeah?
So, yes, neighbor Cole here.
That's me. Talking
across the way here, and he, full of my Oxford commas. Say hello, do your part, introduce whoever, and then let's talk Star Wars.
Yes. Sorry about the pregnant pauses and the Oxford commas.
I'm having twins. Twin sons.
Twin sons, which is coincidentally a name of an episode coming up as we talk about Rebels Season 3. We are not alone, though, in Monkey Poo Studios. We do have a third micer. He's number 3 on the mics, number 1 in our hearts, Darth Mathias, a.k.a. Matt. What's up, buddy?
How's it going? I thought maybe you were going to say the only Star Wars podcast that is now 2/3 sterilized. How's that pipe cleaning coming?
Hey, very good. I brought in a sample the other day. Real quick, we can get right into it, and I'll give more information than I ever should because that's how I roll on these podcasts. Is, sometimes you're really you're proud as a man of your release, right? And then other times, like when you look at it, I felt like I needed to do another. Fill the cup once more.
You could do better. Is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't have much volume. 2/3 sterilized. Matt, you're sterilized. I am, and so is Jay. So
I forgot that you already were, Cole. We are 100% sterilized.
Yeah. We will not be procreating anymore. We've already put our species out into the world.
Did you ever see that stupid movie I think it was called Tomcats with
yes.
And they go into the donation clinic or whatever. And he's envisioning her, and he fills up like 3 cups full of fucking jizz. Meanwhile, the other guy fills up like just a tiny little bit.
That's how I felt. I was really like, and not producer. She, takes a gander at it and says, she goes, "Why do you feel like you're going to be judged by this?" And I was like, "I'm not." Immediately was like, I had it in my pocket, and when I get to she's like, "Did you bring a sample?" I made sure no one's slid it over to her. Yeah.
No.
I could do better.
Never has her nickname, not producer, been more apt.
Right.
Because she wasn't producing
She didn't produce anything.
Yeah.
You're telling the gal behind the counter, I spilled some of it. That's why it's not full.
I wanted to put a Post-it on it. I can do better.
She got hungry on the way in. She drank half of it.
Yeah. When I did mine and took in my sample, I put it in a brown sack lunch bag because I didn't want them to see it. I wanted it to be exposed. I'm like, here, don't open it till I'm gone.
And they tell you you're meeting with the doctor afterwards. And I'm like, why am I meeting with the doctor? What's going on? Are they going to examine this? What's happening here?
He's going to look at it right after it.
It was a woman doctor, and she comes in. She has 3 questions, and she goes, well, you have no sperm, alive or dead, in your sample. So you're good. Come back in a couple. She goes, we need 12 more ejaculations, and then you can come back and bring your second one in. So I was like, I can be back Monday? She looked at me like, huh? She goes, let's go for December. I was like, all right, well, I could promise you I'll be done by then.
You should just put a thing of cottage cheese in there and then bring it back. This is mine.
I did good.
Stick a piece of celery out of it.
Mayonnaise. Celery. Yeah. Well, just to get the particulars out of the way, you can find our show at FromACertainPointOfSkew.com. You can find us on Twitter at FACPAPod, and you can email the show at FACPAPod@gmail.com. And we are also part of the Podawan Podcast Network. You can check us out at Podawans, PODAWANS on Twitter. Anyway, what's on the show today?
On the show today, we've got Question of the Week coming up first. Involves Matt Smith's role in the Rise of the Skywalker. Shit, forgot my Oxford commas. News. Book of Boba Fett trailer. Oh, that's right. I forgot to put down all my heavy notes too. Disney Plus Day, Smorgasbord. That's going to be the next episode I think we'll cover will be that, but we're going to discuss a little bit of news on that. We've got some Acolyte rumors. We've got the Old Republic film. And then we're going to go into our Star Wars Rebels, which is our big part of the show. We got a bulky, beefy second half of season 3 we're going to discuss, which is 12 through 22 if you're following along at home. And then we're going to hit the Maul Bag, Ithorian. How do I say it?
I say Ithorian Historian.
Ithorian. Okay. He's got some theories. He sent us in the Maul Bag. So I guess a big show. So stop messing around and let's get right into questions of the week.
Yeah, so this one I threw out because I sent you guys an article. You may have seen the video clip of it as well. Matt Smith was doing an interview and he was talking about the Rise of Skywalker and they were asking him about what his role was because there was this rumor all along that he was going to be in it. And they even asked, I think they said like, were you supposed to be like Palpatine's son or whatever? And he said he couldn't really say, of course, but he said, quote, it was a really groovy part and concept. It was a big thing. It was a big story detail, a transformative Star Wars story detail, and it never quite got over the line. And he actually went on to say that he never actually filmed anything. It was all discussions, and they never actually got to a point where he filmed anything. So I'm throwing it out to you. Who do you think he was going to play?
Deck officer. Deck officer number 1.
Transformative
Yeah.
Star Wars detail.
I keep finding deck officers all over the fucking series. That's like my new thing. Like, that guy looks like he's a deck officer. He could get in a lot of trouble. Like, later on in the episode, when Ezra hijacks a fighter, I was like, the deck officer on this one's going to get really reamed.
He's in trouble.
Yeah.
Yep. So, I don't know. I wasn't really familiar with Matt Smith's work. I had to look him up. So I'm not really.
He was Doctor Who.
Yeah, and I've never seen that.
Yeah.
So I couldn't really picture him as being somebody or something. So I kind of.
That poor bastard has been cut out of 2 really big franchises because he was cast. Was he John Connor? He was in the Genesis.
Oh, was he really?
In the Terminator Genesis, he was cast, filmed all of his parts, and it was all cut out. The stuff that he was going to do.
He
there were
ended
even
up
like
in
Entertainment
Genesis.
Weekly covers, I believe, where like he was on the cover of one of them, and then they chopped it all out. Like whatever they were going to do, they decided, we're not going to go with that. So yeah. And then you get Star Wars, right? Yeah. But he's doing all right. He just had what is it? Last Night in Soho come out, Edgar Wright's film, and there's something else he's got that's coming out soon too. So yeah, I mean, even it's weird to see like sometimes you just land like that. You think it's the coveted role, and then it doesn't ever happen.
Yeah, I just was thinking about it, and of course, I mean, the one of the rumors was it was somehow tied to Palpatine. It was like, is he his son? Is that? I mean, we saw his son for like a split second, if you want to say Rey's dad.
Yeah, we did.
So would it be that role in more expanded form? Was it going to be just a straight up Palpatine clone of some sort in some way? I don't know.
That's my feeling, because if you kind of look at him, he kind of has like that ugly mug look like Palpatine does, right? Like he could pass for like a Palp's clone, I think.
Who's the guy who played Marty McFly's dad in Back to the Future?
Crispin Glover.
Crispin Glover. He looks a little bit like he's got that vibe with the hair. Yeah, that's the one.
Have you ever heard him talk about how like he was not in the second one and how they kind of fucked him over by using his likeness and all that, and he didn't agree to it?
No, he sued the shit out of them. I think he's probably rich for life because of that.
Oh, is he? Did he win that? Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Didn't he show up on a talk show too, completely baked out of his mind, like crazy on drugs?
David Letterman, he almost kicked in the face.
Yeah, he's a strange, eccentric person.
Yeah, he did like a karate kick and almost kicked David Letterman right in the nose.
Could you imagine that?
Foot got caught between his teeth.
So what do you think? Do you think it's along the Palpatine line, right?
It had to be something related to that. Yeah, I think the clone thing is probably the one that it would have been. If he's saying transformative, I mean, that seems like that would have been part of it. I don't think just expanding on the son. I don't know. I think it would have been a clone.
And I mean, it seems to be like everything we hear about Star Wars that's never happened, or like legend stuff, like everything sort of still seems to happen one way or another, like with maybe like a different flair to it or something. So it doesn't seem like maybe it wasn't right then, or they didn't know how to make it work then. But I mean, it definitely looks like that's what Favloni, they're leading us down that whole thing now. So,
well, and it could have been that J.J. Abrams was like, okay, you want me to cut this down to what? Well, then we got to get rid of that. You know what I mean? Because in the end, I saw somebody tweet the other day and said, the Rise of Skywalker should have been 3 hours. And I was like, yeah, it fucking should have been. It should have been longer to let him flesh out the rest of the story, because it definitely was rushed, and so.
Actually, he would make a good Thrawn.
Yeah.
Matt Smith has that look.
He did, yeah, for sure.
Slick the hair back.
Yeah.
What do you think, listeners? What do you think Matt Smith was going to be?
Yeah.
facpod@gmail.com.
Send it.
Let's talk about that trailer, though. So I wasn't expecting it. I don't think anybody really knew it was coming on that particular day. But when we recorded and released our last episode on Monday, the trailer came out that morning. I was like, oh, shit.
Mm-hmm.
I was curious what your thoughts are. Overall, I think I saw someone post this on Twitter that it was like, this is all from one episode. I think they basically just were like, this is episode 1. We're just going to give you a taste of that.
Yep.
Because all of them just seem like pieces of the same exact story.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, that's what it probably was. And I think that's kind of what they did. Well, not a little bit more, but with like Mando season 2, remember they only showed us stuff from like the first 3 or 4 episodes. They didn't show us anything in the second half because they didn't want to give away the big stuff.
Right.
So I'm assuming that's what that was meant for. It definitely felt like it was more teasery than trailery, you know?
Well, it looks like Boba's going to rule with a bit of sense of consciousness or what's the word I'm looking for?
With a conscience.
Yeah, like he's not ruling with like an iron fist, right? Like he wants people to like come and work with him with like purpose.
Oh yeah, he has that little meeting with his the sub-lieutenants or whatever. He had they're all the reptilians are all sitting around, and then there's the Ithorian sitting there as well. So it looks pretty interesting. Like he's going to try to. I imagine he's going to try to like elevate himself above the wretched hive of scum and villainy that's around him, and he's going to try to like rule with a bit of a purpose and a bit of a conscience.
Is he taking? Well, obviously he is, right? He's taking over like Hutt's section of the underworld, right? And he's trying to get them all to work with him for another reason. Otherwise, it's outside of fear, right? Like you're working with me because I fucking said so. Is this going to like cause a stir up with the other groups like Crimson Dawn, those fucking box head TV looking things, like, you know?
Yes, it could. And so I think. I don't know. The meeting you're talking about was interesting because I think she called them Jabba's captains or something.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
And it was those. I'm gonna say it wrong. Is it Klatooinians? Whatever it is. Those are the ones that look more like dogs. And then they had the one dude that's sitting there looking like Bosk. That's that Trandoshan guy.
Yes.
So they were. And then they had those Aqualeash guys that look like Popa. I have to say that guy's name wrong. The guy who gets in the fight in the cantina with Luke.
Oh yeah. The one that they do the whole family. Was it Family Guy or Robot Chicken where he has like a whole bad day, and then he goes to the fucking cantina to get a beer and gets killed.
Yeah, Ponda Baba. That's his name. God damn it. Anyway, so yeah, I mean he's sitting them down to basically give them an opportunity to say, look, we're gonna do this a different way, and we're all gonna profit from it. And like, well, what if we just fucking kill you? And then that's when Fennec Shan's like, you know, if you said that to Jabba, he'd basically feed you to the Rancors. And they're like, oh.
I was trying to. There was a bunch of things, and God, man, I'm like, I've lost my whole brain today. But the opening shot with the little robot spider things, yeah, those like have like some huge meaning. They were in other episodes. They're like some race, like they like basically upload their consciousness or whatever, right? And they have their like it looks like it's something straight out of the Matrix.
I didn't know what the fuck that was. To me, it was almost a little throwaway at the beginning, and then I looked into it. Yeah, what they said is those are called Bomar monks, and it's from Legends, and apparently what they are is to whatever. I don't know what the whole purpose of it was, but they basically they just take their brain, and these like kind of droid spider creatures carry around their brains. So, and apparently they were all over Jabba's temple before he got there. I don't know. That's a whole storyline that I'm not as familiar with. They show that Ithorian, who's all regal, sitting in his on his throne with a Twi'lek kind of like being his advisor or whatever. And then clearly something shit goes wrong there. And I don't know if that's supposed to be the person who's talking to him when they're doing the voiceovers. Where he's like, "I'm not a bounty hunter," and he's like, "That's not what I heard," or something like that.
Right.
I don't know if that's supposed to be the Ithorian or if that's supposed to be somebody else. It almost sounds like Mando, doesn't it?
That's what there's speculation that it was Mando that was saying that.
It was just good to see a Twi'lek that wasn't a stripper for once, you know?
Number that was?
Number 2 in position, number 2 in command.
It's
Fortuna.
Flashdance.
Oh, so that's the one. When they come into that one scene, it's Jennifer Beals from Flashdance is the one. And then I heard people speculating about that, saying like, oh, I wonder if she has some sort of ties to Bib Fortuna, like whether that be relations or some sort of relative in some fashion. And I was like, dude, let's look at the two of them. First of all, one, he could never pull her, and two, they are not in the same gene pool, so there's no way they are related.
He's definitely the most hit Twi'lek I've ever seen. He's not
Yeah,
doesn't exfoliate.
He extended his life by a few years, 100 years longer than everyone else. He figured something out.
Yeah. But there was a lot of interesting stuff. But like I said, if you're only going to show us stuff from the first episode, it doesn't give us too much. I did think that scene where the guards are outside with them and they'll like launch up their little shields and stuff, and surround them. That was pretty cool. And then they show that shot where his helmet comes off and money dumps out. And I'm like, does this guy need a man purse or something? You don't put your coins in your fucking helmet. That's got to hurt.
Yeah, I don't know what that shot was about.
It was weird.
But it was very similar to like when his dad's head gets chopped off and the helmet just kind of rolls out in front of the camera. Except this time, it was apparently he's like Sonic. Like he's as healthy as he collects coins. Yeah.
He's got like a lot less space in the top left corner because of the big dent. So I don't know what the coins are wrapping around in there. What's going on?
And what city is that? I've seen some people say it's Mos Espa or some, I thought, because Anchorhead's supposed to be small, so it's probably not Anchorhead. I don't know what other city that's supposed to be, but it's in like a canyon. I was joking on Twitter. I was like, boy, if it rains, they are fucked.
Mm-hmm. They're all drowning. You're right, though. Just looking at it, I think it's almost all the same episode. It looks like it's the first episode because they're not giving you anything. Like if it's the Book of Boba Fett, like we're all thinking it's going to show flashbacks and stuff. Boy, that'd be really weird if they don't. They don't give any tease or any indication that they're going to go backwards or show anything. Or
the only thing that made me think it could be related to some sort of flashback was that scene of the Tuskens coming through the sandstorm. That could have been a pullback from something because that didn't fit with the rest of the other shots they were showing. That was the only thing. Everything else. Every other shot looked like it was all from roughly like the same 15-minute stretch of a show, other than them, enjoying the lovely views from the top of Boba's palace.
Yeah.
It's Boba's palace now. He took
exactly.
The sign's not made yet, so.
Eat at Boba's.
Yeah.
Instead of eat at Joe's.
New market under new management. There's like a waving banner.
I did like the fact that at the end, once Fennec like threatens them and says, like you talk shit like this to Jabba, you'd be dead. And then Boba drops the like, hey, speak freely. And then drops his 10-pound dick on the table. Like, see what I'm saying?
Yeah. They show a couple of shots, like the one where it's like, he just goes beast mode again, just like starts crushing skulls. And that looks like it might be the same scene with the people with the guards. And I was someone had mentioned that looks like it's a pullback to, oh shit. I'm trying to think what they were saying that those guards might be.
Well, they almost look like they're dressed like the Naboo guards, kind of.
Maybe that's what I was seeing. Yeah, you're right.
They had a similar outfit.
I just don't remember the giant SWAT.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Force field shields.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
But overall, like it was an interesting little tease. It was nice to see, but like to me, it was almost like I could have waited a little bit longer because other than like, we get to see some footage, it didn't give us anything.
It was pretty. It was definitely a tease. It was not. They didn't give you a ton.
Mm-hmm.
There was. I saw a tweet too from that Jordan Mason guy.
Yeah.
That said that he heard 9 episodes.
Oh, okay.
So I thought that was interesting.
Right. And 9 episodes. And what was the release date on that?
29th of December.
So that runs that through February basically.
And now is that a Friday? 29th of December? Did we look?
29th is a Wednesday. Remember they're changing it to Wednesdays.
It's already got his calendar up.
No, I don't have my calendar up. I just remember that they changed it to Wednesdays. I think they're gonna start releasing all their shit on Wednesdays.
That's what the Marvel stuff, everything is a Wednesday now.
Yeah, because we talked about, do we change our release schedule? But we decided in the end, no, let's just stick with our Monday release schedule. We'll just have a little extra time, a little more flexibility in recording our episodes after they come out.
They can work around us for once,
Yeah,
We're
I
sick
agree.
of it. We're taking
Dave didn't clear this shit with us. Dave.
Damn it, Fabs.
So then let's talk about a little bit about Disney Plus Day stuff. So on the Disney Plus Day smorgasbord, you pronounced that really well. Good job. There was an article on StarWarsNewsNet.com that had all sorts of rumors about what they think we might see. And if everything comes that they are talking about, it is going to be a big day because there's a lot of shit.
I know. Yeah.
They talk about, first and foremost, the Kenobi teaser. Since the show is still probably, we're guessing 6 months out. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're going to show us much in this either. I think it's going to be very like quick shots and kind of
like a 30-second stinger.
Yeah, just to give us a little taste. His voice, maybe something like that. That's about it.
Hello there.
Where do you guys get these terms, sizzle reel and stinger, and is this industry stuff that
Yeah,
I'm
it's
just not aware of?
stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
I'll send you a list.
Appreciate it. Vernacular?
Yeah.
Cheat sheet.
Yeah.
Maybe some acronyms?
What you'll need to use by next year.
Yeah, but I just figure it's going to be very short. It's just going to be just enough to get everybody's, blood down to the midsection.
Even shorter than the Boba Fett. Like, to go back to that real quick, like it'll be we'll start like Pee-wee's Playhouse. We'll do like word of the day, like every episode. I'll give you the word up front, and then by the end you have to fill it in and do it one of your sentences 3 times. It's yours. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, we're not going to go ding and all of us go like a Pee-wee's?
Of course we are.
Okay. So that's cool. I mean, anything Kenobi is going to be cool to see, even if it's just a taste. It'll be fun. And I think that they'll show us something.
I think maybe a little more than something. I think there'll be a separate Kenobi like trailer teaser or something, right? But there'll also be like, if they show like a making of, or like, look what's in, the next year coming from Lucasfilm, we might see a couple of like, behind the camera shots or something too.
Could be. Yeah. Like they did with Andor last year. That could be. And then they said a couple other things. Bad Batch Season 2 teaser is a rumor they're talking about, which, I mean, I think that's been in production for a bit, so that wouldn't surprise me. But again, we're still speculating on when that would come out. We're thinking maybe it's after Kenobi, sometime in the summer next year, perhaps.
Probably the same. When did Bad Batch release? Well, last year it released while we were in Vegas. What was that, March?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Was it March that it came out?
Yeah, we were March. Fuck, what day? I don't remember.
Wasn't it May the 4th?
I thought it was May the 4th.
I think
were
it was
we
May
in
the
Vegas
4th.
in May?
I don't remember.
I think May the 4th is when that first episode came out.
All right.
Yeah.
So, what do I know? It was only a week of my life.
It's just time. Whatever.
Yeah.
I was watching. What show was I watching? Oh, it was a Ted Lasso episode, and I won't get into what they were talking about. But at one point, one of the announcers says to another one something about time, and he goes, "If you're thinking of time, in a linear fashion," he's like, "Yep, I do."
I just watched that yesterday.
Andor sizzle reel. So we obviously saw, some stuff last year that they gave us like a taste. It was a lot of like drawings and set, design pieces and costume, like character heads and things like that.
Concept art.
Yeah. So since this show, we're guessing again, is probably going to be coming out on the heels of Book of Boba, which would put it in either end of February or early March, maybe, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
I would think that they would have a pretty baked trailer by now, or teaser of some
they
sort
have
by
to.
now.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to see a little bit more from that. They also said there could be some behind the scenes stuff for Book of Boba and Mando Season 3. And the Book of Boba behind the scenes stuff makes sense. They talked about doing that, the Boba Fett like primer or whatever. Remember they're
going to release something that day, right? On Disney Plus Day, something's supposed to release. Yeah.
Right. So that's supposed to come out. So I don't know if that's what that means, but to do like a behind the scenes on Mando Season 3, that should just started filming like a month ago, 2 months ago.
It might be the same thing they did with Andor. We'll just see some more concept art. Maybe a little fucking tease of a little someone's yellow lightsaber.
Ooh, that's what you keep thinking that's going to happen, don't you? Mm-hmm. You think that poster's real?
Disney commissioned the poster, right?
Did they really? Did we get that? I
believe so. I believe that was art from them.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I thought that was more fan art kind of deal.
I'll look it up.
All right. And then they also mentioned a new animated series coming probably in 2023. And this is real interesting. It's supposed to be centered around Maul and likely his time running Crimson Dawn kind of prior to the events of Solo. And there was a rumor that Matt Lanter and D. Bradley Baker and Sam Witwer were recording something. So
right.
This sounds pretty interesting. That's an area I've always wanted them to explore. Since Solo came out, I really wanted them to explore it in live action. Mm-hmm. It sounds like, this is going to be maybe the closest we get to it. I hope this doesn't like poo-poo any chance we have for seeing Solo sequel stuff of some sort, but because it sounds like it's before.
Yeah.
So I think you get a lot of Dryden Voss,
It's weird that they're going to have animation that's like hopping around, but I mean, I guess so is their shows, but like, you need a fucking, it's getting so, it's like Lost, where you're in a flashback and you're like, okay, whose life am I in? Where does this take place?
Yeah.
What
Imagine
year?
how I feel.
Yeah.
Can't put together the original trilogy timelines.
It's like walking around the world between worlds, which we'll get to next season in Star Wars Rebels. Yeah, but I just thought those are characters I would love to see fleshed out more. So I'm cool with that. But it sounds like it's still a little ways off. I think there's some people out there that have maybe some sort of like Maul fatigue. Like I think you hear rumblings about it all the time where people are like, oh my God, they're bringing Maul in again. Like people get mad about that for some reason.
Really?
I fucking love the character. I think he's great. I think there's a lot more to tell there.
I agree. And when he does show up, it's always hitting. It's like, you see him once or twice per season.
Yeah.
And there's several episodes between. And the guy's like always just like, oh yeah, I've been out fucking around for 7 weeks. So there's like, there's holes to fill.
Sending dick pics out.
Yeah.
He didn't he had like 0 dialogue in episode 1 or whatever, so
I think it was like 17 words, I think, or something like that. Ridiculous. Yeah.
And then he's been such an iconic in Rebels, and he just shows up everywhere. So I don't know. How do you get fatigued with someone you hardly ever see?
Which is
maybe they want a new villain.
Boba Fett.
New villain, maybe.
Maul is like the Boba Fett of that trilogy, right? Looked really cool, was awesome to look at. Said 4 things, died.
Oh, did he though?
Right. Well, and I think there's some. And again, when you're dealing with any sort of Star Wars fan reactions, you're going to have some shit in there. But
yeah, I hear there's a strange fan base.
There might be some. There might be some fringes there.
Yeah.
But I think the big thing that got everybody hung up was the fact that he gets sliced in half and then he's back later. Everybody just got real hung up on how is that possible?
Yeah.
There's no way he's dead. So anybody who can't get past that is going to hate everything he's in after that.
Yeah. Which, it's funny because they get past the flying spaceships, basically monks with
the
fucking
Force.
laser swords. Yeah, yeah, but they're real hung up on, the fact that his innards didn't fall out when he was cauterized instantly. Okay.
Speed of light travel.
Right,
hyperspace lanes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all this makes sense. I'm on board. I'm on board until the 4th movie. Really fucking lost me.
Okay, well, that was it kind of for Disney Plus Day. So we will cover that next week, because that is coming up this Friday. So our next episode will get into all the details of all that kind of stuff. I hope we see at least 3 or 4 of those things. That would be fucking awesome.
Yeah, because if I remember right, the Star Wars one was a little shorter than the whole Marvel thing last year, right?
Oh, the Investor Day thing? Was it? Was it shorter? It might have been.
I think they've got definitely a lot more to show this time. So I think and why not at this point? They'll tease something, and then I guess whenever the next celebration is.
Well, look at what they had on the schedule for the next year. So at the Investor Day last year, they had WandaVision, they had Loki,
exactly,
they had all these shows lined up, and Star Wars only had 1. Mm-hmm. Well, 2, I guess. Bad Batch.
They got Patty Jenkins on roller skates.
Yeah, they did
going
that.
to her car, talking about her dad with a pilot.
Speaking of that, let's skip to that first, then we'll come back to the Acolyte. So there was a rumor that came out, I think it was yesterday, that was I think I saw this on StarWarsNewsNet.com as well, that they think that they're working on an Old Republic project, like a film project for the Old Republic, which I don't know if this is supposed to be something that's aligned with the fact that they're bringing out that reboot of Knights of the Old Republic video game and they want to align all that shit together. But they're saying that this will be the film that comes out at the end of 23, and they're going to push Rogue Squadron out to 24.
Well, that was the big rumor when, their names escape me, the Game of Thrones fellas.
Right.
When they were on board to do a trilogy, the big thing was because of their history with all those characters and that type, they could go back and build that up. And then when they left, so people were like, okay, was that what Rian Johnson was originally going to do? Mm-hmm. Or was that now Taika? So I don't know, but Taika keeps signing on to shit. Apparently he either figured out how to clone himself or, other studios aren't talking and they don't realize they've all hired him to do big movies in the next 2 years. So.
He doesn't have the word no in his vocabulary.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he's doing everything.
Never say no. They might not ask you again.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, they're not going to ask him when he's like, oh, yeah, I'll get that screenplay right to you. What do you mean you're filming a movie?
Well, and the rumor that was brought up said this is not the Feige film. This is not the Taika Waititi film. This is not Rian Johnson. This is something else. So your comment about the Game of Thrones guys, I mean, I thought, what are they called? The something brothers, right? I can't remember.
Well, they're not brothers, but it's...
no, I'm thinking of something else.
Why can I not remember either of their names? David Benoff and D.B. Wise are the writers.
Right, brothers.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
The Benoff-Wise brothers.
Step brothers.
Brothers from, there we go. Yeah, yeah. Screenwriting and Step Brothers.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting because it's another era. So it's a time that we haven't really touched on. So I'm all for it. And I'm excited to see what kind of films they're going to make. As much as I love these series, it's cool to see what kind of films they're going to put together.
So now, is this one of those things because they're always working on a million, like Marvel, right? And they'll start building stuff and concept. And when they get a director attached, okay, we're going to move forward with this project. And they might have 9 more. So there's always rumors something's going to happen. You might not see it for 10 years. So is this something maybe it's just been in the works for a while and all of a sudden this one is built to a point where okay, I think we're ready to push this one, and that they're going to move Rogue Squadron back because, I mean, if this is, then yes, they've been working on this one for quite some time.
I think you might be right in the sense that they went, okay, so Patty Jenkins is working on isn't she working on another Wonder Woman film and then like some series or something? So they might be like, hey, you know what? Why don't you pump the brakes on yours a little bit? I know you're still working your shit through. This other one's further along. Let's just release that first.
Yeah. Patty, you're busy. We're going to let you go off and do your own thing. Come back when you're ready. Taika, you're not doing anything, are you?
or they're like, so Wonder Woman 84. We want to see what you do with the next one. Then we'll release your film after that.
Well, you know how Kathleen Kennedy gets. She gets cold feet fast.
Yeah,
Holy
exactly.
hell. She got no problem fucking. Oh, well, that was kind of. We'll see you later. We'll talk when you've got 3 good hits.
Poor
on your hands.
circulation.
Right.
Yeah, but the rollerblade thing I did. Remember?
Yeah. It was all about my dad.
I got blisters all over my toes from that.
I had to learn how to roller skate.
This last one is about the Acolyte, which you brought this one up, Jay, in our little DM. Do you want to share what the story is there from Illuminerdi? Do you want me to get into it? I have some details here.
I'm gonna need a little fucking trigger here. I told you I'm wait. Something's wrong with me.
Hit him with a sizzle reel.
Yeah.
So there was a link that you gave me and Cole. It was from the Illuminerdi, and it was talking about how. One, we know the Acolyte's meant to be about like the rise of the dark side at the end of the High Republic. They said that there's a working title called Paradox. So they're trying to figure out what that means. They said
They're
supposed
hiring
to be
a woman of color.
Yeah, they were looking to hire like a young woman of color, like either late teens, early 20s as the main character. And they said, spoiler alert, they said that the rumored name right now, at least placeholder for now, is Aura, which I thought was interesting because we had Aura Singh.
Yeah.
And they usually don't like to double up on names, even though, people have the same names. And they also said it was going to begin filming next summer, 2022. Those were the rumors. Yeah. So, I can't wait for this series. I'm really excited. But this was kind of the latest little rumor dish.
See, I remembered all of that.
Was it paradox? Like a pair of docs, like 2 docs? Or is it just like
a paradox?
It's 2 doctors. Yeah.
It's paradox. Quacks. A couple of quacks.
Well,
Chiropractor and
it's like Grey's Anatomy in Star Wars.
Doing open heart surgery on an Ithorian.
Does he have multiple hearts? I can't remember. I know he's got 2 mouths.
I don't know.
Ithorians.
Yeah, at least. Yeah, he's got my heart.
So it'd be a chiropractor and a dentist then, because you got to work on the mouth.
There you
go. All right, that was it. That was it. That was all we had for news. So we can move on to Rebels if you're ready.
It's kind of a lot of news, but yeah,
I'm ready.
I mean, I've never been more ready.
Well, when we left off with the first half of season 1, Maul and Ezra had realized Obi-Wan was alive.
Yes.
They knew there was a planet with 2 suns, but they didn't know which one it was. They were trying to figure out where to go. And the other kind of key bit was that we discovered
he's alive.
He's alive. Yeah. That Agent Callus is the new Fulcrum. That's kind of where we left off.
Right.
Yep.
So we pick up with Ghosts of Geonosis.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Ghost crew is ordered by Bail Organa to go to Geonosis to look for Saw Gerrera, who is now voiced by Forrest Whitaker.
Jimmy Smits is back. Yeah, you heard that right away, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They've upped their. Well, it's because this has now come out, I think, after Rogue One. Like before all the Clone Wars stuff, that was all pre-Rogue One. So they were sent there to investigate the planet being devoid of life. Because last time we saw Geonosis, they were like, "There's nothing alive down there." He's like, "How's that?" Rex was like, "How's that possible? It's fucking crawling with bugs before I don't do that."
Right. Yep.
So they're supposed to go in there, and there's some mysterious energy source, and so Ezra, Kanan, and Rex go searching for Saw. Because they leave the Ghost, and there's like this wicked sandstorm, and they find this temple, and that's when they go in and start looking for Saw.
And then shortly afterwards, they're ambushed by these out-of-date, old version 1 battle droids that come rolling up on them. Yep.
Roger.
And the mysterious power source gets uncovered. Right, it's a shield generator that's being kept operational.
Yeah.
Well, no, interesting too, because Rex shares a little bit with Ezra as they're kind of getting in there. He's like, "Hey, so we're gonna meet up with Saw Gerrera. By the way, he lost his sister. We the last time I saw him, we were training him and his troops with Anakin and Ahsoka, and he lost his sister. Like, kind of just mentions that. You remember that whole Steela? Yeah, you remember that whole series from Clone Wars when she was in that love triangle with Lux Bonteri and
that's
and
right.
Ahsoka.
Yeah,
Remember that? It was kind of forced. It felt a little weird.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't. I don't.
Yep.
Once they destroy those battle droids that you're talking about, with the help of Saw, we get the nice like Predator handshake by Rex and Saw. They get the little fucking do the voice, Cole. What is it?
You son of a bitch. CIA has you pushing too many pencils.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a good.
And isn't this another one where like he takes him to his little? Oh no, it's Kit Kat or whatever. Click.
Clack.
Yeah, he's got his little cave of I'm collecting everything. He's hiding his little queen egg in there.
I can't do it.
That's pretty close. I was gonna try that one, but it's tough to pull off.
It's very tough.
Yeah. But Saw's pissed. Like he's like, we got to track this fucking bug down. We got to figure out why the Empire wiped out the population. Like this is why we're here. And he's very relentless.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very biased towards the Geonosians.
Well, because they made the gunship that killed his sister.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all their fault.
It comes down
so he's
to.
like, I'm going to handcuff you to myself, and we're going to play a little Gerald's game later.
Meanwhile, on the surface, like Zeb and Sabine are trying to hijack the shield generator because, the rebellion, they'll take whatever you got left over.
They do, too.
Yeah.
They're handy.
They don't have the dough.
Yeah, so they're navigating that through a field of which they thought was just like bumps in the sand or like anthills, but apparently it's just a bunch of destroyer droids that aren't activated.
Oh, yeah, yep.
Right? So they're trying to go through there. And meanwhile, that stupid bug hits the little clicker and activates all the droids. So now there's a real predicament on the surface.
Yep, a little trouble.
Yep.
But luckily, Zeb and Sabine are able to fire up the shield on the spot, like a split second before the first shot goes right into her head. It's very close.
Sabine's good at hot wiring cars, apparently, because she was able to get that thing moving.
Yes, exactly. And then Ezra and Chopper kind of head after the Geonosian, who runs off, while Kanan does he shoots the bridge above and does the little, force trick to suspend it so that Saw and Rex can make their way across. That was kind of a nice little trick.
Yeah, he force pushes Ezra, and meanwhile, he can just make the jump by himself willy-nilly. Like, well, why didn't you go first and start chasing? You know what I mean? I guess
Right.
he had to get everybody else across. Yeah,
but
that's true.
I love the fact that he does that. Saw goes, "Oh, I forgot they can do that," and he goes, "He's no Skywalker."
He's no Skywalker.
And
Rex does
then
that.
you hear Kanan say, "I heard that."
Yeah.
But again, fucking Rex's dick is still so hard for Anakin. It's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
He's so forgiving of that.
My Jedi can beat up your Jedi. It's like,
So as they're chasing the bug through the tunnels and like Ezra's off on his own trying to get it, they kind of do the save them in the nick of time. They knock him down, get the activator, whatever that little clicky button thing is, and apparently you just shoot it and all the droids die. So the droids all fall off, nick of time.
Yep.
And the episode kind of ends with Saw getting super intense, interrogating like old click clack.
right. So they agree to bring him back and interrogate him at their base, right?
Well, they're gonna handcuff him. They handcuff him and they take him back to the base and they're gonna ask him questions. But the rebel faction, the Phoenix Squadron, they're all kind of basically like, he's our guest / prisoner, and Saw's like, it gets real intense a little later on in this episode, but we can go into that.
Well, and that's when he drops his little hologram chip that Ezra finds, and he sees the picture of Steela. So you get a little bit more of that story as well, and why he's mad. It's trying to kind of, I think, justify why Saw is so angry and so brutal to this bug the whole time, is because he's so driven by the fact that he lost his sister to something that they
But Saw's really like one track mind. Like ends are going to justify the means. No matter what he has to do at the end, like the Empire will fall. That's it.
Yeah, and I mean everything we hear about him as they go along, including a lot of it, mentioned in Rogue One, is like he's an extremist. Like he's kind of on the fringes of the rebellion because he does not exactly play by their whatever code or rules. So then the Empire shows up in a light cruiser because the ghosts, I guess, tripped an alarm of some sort when they came into the system. And they're like, oh, it's nothing. And they go in there and realize that the fucking ghost is actually there. And
goddamn rebels again.
Yeah, those damn rebels. And that's when we go back to the caves, and that's when you find what you were talking about earlier. They find Click Clack's workshop. And Saw is just tearing it apart. And that's when he finds that queen egg. And then that's this whole like Click Clack gets real protective of the queen egg. And you realize it's because that's basically the end of his species if that gets destroyed.
Right.
Have you guys ever read Ender's Game?
Yes, I don't remember it very well, but yes.
Okay. There goes into a whole storyline of that where they're protecting the hive egg type of a thing. It gave me a real type of a vibe from that.
Because the whole alien race that attacks them is a hive, right?
Yep, it's like a hive mind type of a thing, and a queen and blah, 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 blah.
Was that movie any good that they did for that?
Shit. No, trash. Harrison Ford was terrible in it too. It wasn't good at all.
That's too bad. So Rex finds a transmitter, and they get in contact with Hera, and she informs them basically that they got to get the fuck out of there because the Empire's there now. And so they agree to take Click-Clack and the egg and get answers from him, and they'll return him later. And Saw's doing that whole like, we're in war, bad shit happens. So like, we need to fight dirty because if we don't fight dirty, the Empire fights dirty. So we're gonna lose. So that's kind of how he was taking the approach. They send in some TIE bombers. They destroy those. But then the Ghost decides to, all along could just fucking go down that shaft and just starts busting through bridges and stuff to basically go pick them up, which I thought was like, are you sure you're going to fit?
That was a tight fit.
And she goes down flat. And when she comes out, she just goes straight up. I'm like, well, you could have just gone straight. No? Okay, maybe not.
Did you guys notice when I believe it was they were still on the surface and Sabine says something about sand getting everywhere? Did you guys hear that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, she's like, sand, it gets everywhere.
They
She
love
said it real
sneaking those
deliberately.
in. They love.
There's quite a few of them in this one, and there's even a few. I should have wrote them down, God damn it! But I remember at least 2 or 3 in the second half of the season that were like things that people complain about, like in The Last Jedi, or there's other things you're like, well, they fucking did this here before.
Yeah, maybe they didn't see it, or they're
Was this
more forgiving.
Was this the one? Was this the one? Was this the season, or did we already cover it where they're running on top of the fucking spaceships, just like they do in The Last Jedi? And then there's the what's his face, Soto? Doesn't he fucking do the hyperspace blast through a ship? And
That's the one, yeah.
yeah,
This is the season.
it's the whole fucking the ending of the Rise of the Skywalker. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, you're talking about the Hondo maneuver.
Yes. Yeah.
That's The Last Jedi.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yes. And then the Rise of the Skywalker was the running on the fucking spaceships.
Right, exactly. Yep. Yeah, well, so then they send in those rocket troopers. Those guys are kind of fucking badass.
Right, yeah.
And I love it because there's a point where Sabine kind of swoops out in her jetpack and all of them are like, oh shit, because she just fucks them all up. They're like sitting down there going, oh!
Yeah.
Yeah, she shows him like, yeah, I grew up with this. So she goes out there and just like takes him to task. Did we skip past the part where Saw was like tasering Click-Clack with like a taser? Like,
I
over
forgot
and over?
about that.
Like he won't even let him speak. He keeps zapping him with like the taser. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy from? Then at one point he gets that fucking egg and he's kind of held hostage with the blaster.
He's gonna shoot it. Yeah.
One more move and I'm gonna make this thing into yolk. It's gonna be too over easy. They discovered the poison gas cylinders down in the base, right? And the Empire had released poison gas to kill off all the Geonosians.
It was Raid.
Well,
It was
nice. There was also the thing where when they're asking Click-Clack about it, he keeps drawing the circle with the smaller circle, and so when they get to the bottom, Rex
I
is
thought it was
like,
a Death
"Oh,
Star."
that was the symbol. That's just the Empire symbol." He was talking about this. It's like, no, he wasn't. He was talking about the Death Star, and you just don't realize that they were actually building it there because in Attack of the Clones,
Attack of the Clones,
2,
you see, yeah,
they're
right.
building it there. Yeah, right, exactly. You get all that shit with Dooku.
So then, kind of towards the end of the episode, they like the Empires keep sending like troops down, but they also did this huge tactical error where they're like directly over top of the vent shaft, and but Hera just takes her ship right between them and just blows the shit shit out of them. So.
And then they're also informed by Organa that, yeah, hey, you got pictures of the canisters, but you lost them on the way out. So without physical evidence, I'm not going to be able to convince the Senate of anything. As if that's going to do anything. Like, what are they going to bring that to the Senate and be like, see this? And it's not,
Look what we
it's not gonna
found.
last long.
He's like, yeah, that's photoshopped, bro. Fake news. Get out of here. And then we go to episode 14, Warhead.
Yep.
So this one starts up with old iRobot showing up at Chopper Base, right? He comes strolling in out of the abyss and, well, actually, he gets attacked by some spiders?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they find him like dead underneath some spiders. Exactly. And it's a protocol droid looking thing. It almost has a similar look to C-3PO. So it looks like it's not very menacing. It looks friendly.
It looks like the original drawing, right? Isn't that what that is? It's
Yeah,
the
I think it
original
might be.
C-3PO drawing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So apparently, Chop, AP5, and Zeb, this is their episode. They're left to secure the base
Another
while
fucking droid episode.
Oh,
the
man.
rest of the squadron's out on a mission.
AP5 giving Zeb the business. Like, what exactly do you do? Aren't you just
Yeah.
the muscle?
Yeah.
Like, why are you in charge?
Why are you in charge? Yeah, he gives him that. Like, that's hilarious. I
thought you were a grunt.
episode. Yeah, don't you lift heavy objects? I could use you in the inventorying the base.
He is relentless, man. For the next several episodes when he's in it, he is just hammering people with with little
Yeah,
quips.
yeah, exactly.
So, like, I believe they lose, like, a sensor in the outer perimeter. So Zeb goes out to investigate, finds the droid, brings it back to the base, which is the critical error.
But Chopper immediately wants to murder it.
Yes.
Same old Chopper.
Yes, same old Chop.
And smart
Ain't nothing
Chopper,
changed.
frankly.
Actually, yes.
Ain't nothing changed. Ain't nothing changed in the Chop.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they get a transmission from Fulcrum as well, alerting them that there's these protocol droids out on the loose. And just as they're like receiving the message,
They bring it back to life.
They bring it back. They power it up, and he's like, "Uh-oh!" And this thing turns into a fucking
Stretch Armstrong.
the warhead. Apparently, yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, at first when they fire it up, AP5's like, "You're great. Like you can spot all this inventory. You're really helpful and all this stuff." And then once he says like something about blah blah blah, the rebel base, the thing starts going rebel base. Rebel base, and just gets triggered and turns into a fucking monster.
Triggered.
So he's a recon droid, EXD-9 Imperial Infiltrator droid. Assignment Adelon is the name of it? Was what he repeated out loud?
Yeah, I kept saying Atolan. It's Adelon. They say that several times in later episodes. I love the fact, too, that at one point, once they realize that the character is bad, that the droid is bad, and it takes off, Chopper says something, and because Zeb doesn't understand Chopper, and he's like, it says to AP5, he's like, what did he say? And he's like, in summary, I told you so.
Yeah. I love it when the droid first hits
I fucking told you. I think that was one of them I heard out of him.
the infiltrator droid hits AP5 at one point, and he goes, "Oh!"
Oh,
He goes, like the real stupid fucking voice of his, "Oh no!" He goes flying off into space. It was so funny.
And then it turns into this like Ravager, like runs around and just starts attacking different droids, stealing parts from it, trying to like repair itself, which was a whole weird scenario. It was almost like horror film-esque. They kept finding droids ripped apart and going, oh, it was here, keep trying to chase it.
And little
down.
do you know, Chopper's already murdered them. He just found the murdered bodies and took the parts off of them.
And apparently, if you're gonna have a battle with a stronger enemy, you're gonna go after it like Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Apparently, Zeb trained under Renzo Gracie because he gets him in a really good choke.
Yeah,
he gets his fucking ass kicked before that bell. Holy shit, he takes a beating.
I was like,
he holds it down. He's got it in the headlock or whatever. He's like, "Will you turn it off?
Tap out."
Yeah.
But it hadn't. He gets it. They shut it down. AP5 shuts it down. But they realized, it hasn't transmitted its location yet. But it starts to self-destruct
straight out of Predator. Like he starts doing the countdown straight out of Predator. Like we were talking about earlier. Right.
Exactly.
So,
a lot of Predator actually.
Chap goes up and freezes it with his little cryo. Just freezes it, and then they rewire it. The idea is
to set the timer for like 20 minutes.
So they send it back. Send it back, and then when it reloads to the Imperial network, it's going to start the countdown again. Right. So they basically just send a ticking time bomb back to the, hoping that it doesn't go to the ship that Fulcrum's on. I guess. I don't know.
Right.
They don't know, but they're gambling.
Well, and hoping that it doesn't have time to transmit the coordinates of the base that it just found before it actually explodes. So it's a little bit of a gamble there. We're flying by the seat of our pants.
And then at the end of this episode, I seem to remember after they send it back and it explodes, Thrawn has pieced together one more piece of the pie where he's like, now I can narrow it down to 94 planets or something, right? In this system. Yep.
He's very much, it's a numbers game, like how like Grievous didn't give two shits about how many droids died for the sake of the cause kind of thing. Right. Thrawn is very much like, I don't care what I have to sacrifice people-wise, resources-wise, as long as I'm zeroing in and getting to the end of, to my goal.
He's like an intellectual boa constrictor.
They call him Long Game Throng for nothing.
Okay.
So episode 15, Trials of the Darksaber.
Dun dun dun.
Kanan shows Fen Rao the Darksaber and Rao proceeds to give a nice little history lesson, which is like animated above his head.
Right.
On the wall.
It's
like a slideshow. And he talks about how Tar Vizsla, created it over 1,000 years ago, and he was the first Mandalorian Jedi. And then basically when he died, the Jedi took it and held it at the temple, and the House Vizsla folks came and took it so that they could rule Mandalore. And then he's saying, if Sabine wields that saber, she can reunite Clan Vizsla and would basically put her in charge of an army, which would be good for the rebellion.
Now that's a side story, a little mini I'd love to see. I'd love to see Clan Vizsla infiltrate the Jedi Temple to get that Darksaber back. Like, was it an all-out war? Did they get Just in and out. What if it's just them in? They grab it, walk out.
So sort of like Rogue One.
No, they do
like
the old
story where they
get on
steal
each
the
other's
plans.
shoulders and they put a trench coat around them with,
Oh,
with a hat on, and they just walking through here, just doing a tour.
It's a really tall man.
It's like Andre the Giant, Princess Bride. Yeah. Big tall cloak.
I am the Dread Pirate Wabba.
So Sabine doesn't want anything to do with the Saber or her family or her clan, but is basically convinced by Kanan and Hera that, you know, she's got to try to unite them for the good of the rebellion. And so she's also motivated by the fact that Ezra's like, yeah, I don't think you could do that. I don't think you can wield that thing. She's like, what the fuck do you mean I can't wield that thing? He's like, hey, I got the Force, and it still took me a while to figure out how to work a lightsaber.
Yes. Yep. And then you see a bit of Kanan's teaching style, right? He's trying to go a little bit different with Sabine than he did with Ezra.
He's a hard ass.
Kind of like Whiplash, kind of like the guy in Whiplash, right?
Yeah.
The drummer.
Yeah. No.
Work on your form.
Again.
He's like, not quite my tempo.
Slap in her face. Oh, God.
Yep. Good parallel.
All right. 5 seconds of training didn't go well. Ezra, deal with her.
Yeah, I know. He kind of gives up pretty quickly. But yeah, because they go out to where like the Bendu's hood to train to kind of get away from it all, and he's just humiliating her with this whole like stick blade fighting. And so yeah, he says finally, Ezra, go through the forms with her. And so he's doing the forms. You get the idea that days are going by and she's struggling to pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What if he just comes in, Sabine on the kick drum, come on the kick drum. Now Sabine. Okay, sorry. No more Whiplash references.
That's right. So Fen shows up and gives her these Vam braces.
Yep.
As like a nice little way to kind of help her fight the Jedi.
Specifically to combat Jedi, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, because they work like she's got the one that's like the Force push. Mm-hmm. So basically she becomes a fucking Jedi with her bands.
It's got the Wonder Woman rope.
Yep.
I was gonna say, the absolutely Wonder Woman rope, like just like that.
Mm-hmm. The lasso of truth.
Sorry.
She does that and defeats nerd.
That one was gonna get me laid.
Well, doesn't like being on a Star Wars podcast and calling a guy out for being a nerd either.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what I call my bondage gear when I got it in the bedroom. It's the lasso of truth.
Look up why Wonder Woman was created. It was created by a guy who was all into bondage.
Oh, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was going to say, do you put it around and like to say to the woman, do you want to have sex with me? She's like, no. You're like, wait a minute. This isn't working the way I wanted it to.
Right.
Let me deactivate the truth method here.
Yeah. Just tease me or something. So she uses that to defeat Ezra, and that shit, Kanan ain't having it.
Kanan loses it on her.
Yeah,
he
he's like,
fucking rips her a new
bullshit
asshole.
tricks. Yeah. He's not
Won't
happy
save you in
about
the long run, only training, and then she stalks off all petulant.
it. Yeah, she
I'm going to go out into the desert and face off with some spiders, apparently. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Ezra kind of goes out there and drops the fucking guilt trip that he keeps dropping. She's like, it was really hard. You don't understand like what I went through with my parents. He's like, it'd be nice to have parents. And walks off, and she's like, oh.
It should be his byline in every episode. Do you know my parents are dead? Have I told you?
Yeah, he
they're
drops
gone.
that one a lot. That's like the way he wins every fucking argument. Well, I don't have parents. Like, shit.
You know, my parents were the original podcasters, and now they're dead. Spotify wouldn't even bat their eyes at them.
Right.
Not enough downloads.
They said they had copyright material. They couldn't use it.
So it comes to a head to that, like, Hera, who apparently has got the trick to a Jedi training method, tells her, well, why don't you just go live fire training with her? Let her just fucking wield the Darksaber around.
Yeah.
Cut lopping people's heads off with haystacles, slapping each other with the hot mops. Like, what?
Exactly. Her point being, if you're training her with a bunch of bullshit sticks, that tells her you don't trust her, so she's out.
Yeah.
You got to tell her, you got to show her that you trust her. So he's
You gotta make it real.
It's all or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep. It's like going autoerotic asphyxiation with no spotter,
Yeah. So then Kanan just starts fucking pushing her buttons about her family and shit while he's fighting her. He's really like giving her the business. It is tough love all the way with Sabine.
It is.
And Kanan.
Yeah, and so he breaks her down like a fucking Marine recruit in fucking Paris Island.
Right.
And she's like,
Well,
you know, I
full
use
Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah.
G.I. Jane.
Right.
She should have done that too. Suck my dick, sir. That'd have been great. Family episode. But she brings to light that she was building weapons for the Empire, and then the Empire in turn used those weapons on Mandalore to wipe out all of her people.
Right, which is why her family has disowned her.
So she spoke out eventually, and then her families basically didn't stand with her, and they chose to the acquiesce to the Empire, right?
Yeah, so she helped build these weapons. They're mad that she did that. They attack them with those weapons, and then she's like, "We got to stand up against this. This is bullshit." And they're like, "No."
Right.
So that would, as I could see how that would be very confusing for her, because she's like, "Well, wait a minute. What are you talking about?" And I'll be honest, when she goes through that and breaks all that down, it was a little emotional.
There was a few little
Got me a little bit.
Sabine.
got me in the cockles, in the heart.
Yeah,
Matt's got a little thing for Sabine, I think.
I
It's
love
this girl.
Sabine. Sabine's great.
Yeah.
So kind of the end of the episode is you get the idea that Fen Rao would follow her, Ezra would follow her. They both kind of kneel before her.
Yeah.
Kanan's already on his knees apparently from the training, and your new family would stand by you no matter what, right?
Right.
That's the theme of the.
As long as I can still beat you.
And then Ezra, before they leave, says, just to remind you guys, my parents are dead.
Yep.
Just throws it in there.
And also,
Keeps dropping it.
I love you, Sabine.
He's like, you got a new family now. I never had a family because mine were dead. Just keeps going. Keeps reminding them. And scene.
All right, next one is Legacy of Mandalore. So Sabine, Ezra, Fen, and Kanan head to Crow Nest, excuse me, but are shot down on entry by Mandalorians, and so she's taken by Tristan. Spoiler alert: her brother, who's rocking that Gar Saxon gear, and he takes her back to what we find out is her mother, Ursa Wren. So we meet her mom, and then immediately, Ezra's like, "Oh, must be nice."
Yeah.
Oh, is this your family? I don't have a family. Did you guys see that they're speaking Mandoa in the subtitles? That's the name of the
didn't see that.
language.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the
Okay.
language was it's Mando, MANDO hyphen, or what the hell is that over the word can't? What would you put that in? Apostrophe.
Apostrophe.
Jesus. Where's Kyle when I need her? Apostrophe A. So Mandoa.
Mandoa. Okay.
Mandoa.
Clonist. That's how they say.
I like how the house, from the outside, it looks like we're in one of those. It reminds me of
Iron
a
Man's
90s, sure, but a 90s survival movie that takes place out the people are going to come into the house. The whole thing is that setting.
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's
glass walls and
right. It's almost like Fear. But in science fiction or something like that.
Yes.
You've reinforced the windows and the doors. Only the code gets you in.
Yeah. Who's seen that too many times?
Oh, way too many times.
All for the roller coaster scene, right?
Way too many times. Oh, yeah.
Is that the one that's with
Wild
Mark
Horses
Wahlberg?
playing in the background when that scene happens? Yeah, I remember that
Golly.
very well. Yep. Anyway,
I remember.
I'm going to need a minute. No, I'm just kidding.
That's all it took her.
So
He gets her.
Tristan meets them on the ground, right? And then they take him to the lake house, and Fen Rao stays behind, right? So that's kind of sowing the seeds.
Yeah.
He stays
They don't know
behind
he's
too.
there.
Right. He's staying undercover. And then she kind of shows herself out into the throne room, and Mom, we need to talk, and whips out the dark saber.
And she's going to kill her right away. You aren't my daughter.
Well, yeah, you get the guilt trip from Ursa first to her daughter. You fucked us over. Our clan has been in a bad shape ever since. We're trying to get our dignity back. That's why your brother joined Saxon, because we want to try to get some sort of cred back. So she's really a lot of guilt trips.
Yeah, and you find out her dad is being held prisoner, and they're kind of using him as an influence or a ransom type of thing to keep Clan Ren in line.
Mm-hmm.
So hey, you guys, we're going to kill the patriarchy if you don't follow suit.
Right.
Yeah, and she says Fen Rao is a traitor. So good thing he hid out. Because he would not have been welcomed.
Yeah, I feel like there was more than one reason why he was like, you know what, I'm going to stay back with the show.
Good luck, guys. We'll see how you guys tell me how it goes.
I'm going to sneak in John Rambo style in a little bit. Just run along.
But then Ursa explains, the whole thing about, they didn't have a choice. They had to do it. Kind of tells her that on the side. She doesn't want to reveal it in front of everybody. But then that's when Sabine says, well, I trust you, Mom, and hands her the darksaber.
Yep.
I like how she's like, how'd you get this? Did you get this from Maul? Did you defeat him in battle? She's
Yes.
like, no, well, that's fucking that. Then you don't deserve this.
Then you don't deserve it. Yeah. Yep.
Then this is worthless to me.
I
she
found
says.
it, Mother. Go put it back.
To where? Maul? You want me to give it back to him?
Right. Yeah.
And then meanwhile, she gets summoned by Saxton, who's the Sundari. Did they hear? You hear they called him Sundari?
No, I think they were talking about the place where they were.
Okay.
Isn't that the name? Am I confusing two things? Isn't that where the actual the city is, where the headquarters is essentially? Okay. I think that's where they said Sundari's on the line. That's what it was.
Okay, maybe that's what
they're talking. That would be like saying I don't know, like Coruscant's on the line. You know what I mean? Like it was kind of
DC's calling. Yeah, get a line coming.
Is this before or after she gets in the stick fight with her brother?
Well, yeah. So Fen Rao breaks in and gets the lightsabers that were confiscated, right?
Yep.
And then, meanwhile, Sabine and Tristan are sparring, and he's just really letting it out. They're using PVC pipe that's
right
2.5 inches long.
I'm gonna beat you with my jealousy.
Yeah, and they're talking about, or he's pissed off because they lost everything, and he's kind of taking it off on her, and she kind of discovers the double cross. And meanwhile, Ursa, which is Sabine's mom, kind of gives the double cross and lets him know, hey, you can have both these Jedi and the dark saber. Just let my daughter live, type of a thing to Gar Saxton, right?
Right. It's just Saxon, but that's cool.
It's not Gar?
No, he keeps saying Saxton. It's Saxon.
I'm sorry.
That's why I keep saying Saxon, just to be a real asshole.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for correcting me.
Yeah, you're welcome. I know you'd like it so much. Is there a dartboard with my face on it back there?
No.
It's in the toilet.
It's been requested.
It's been requested. So Saxon shows up, and the guards put their guns on Ezra and Kanan, and the double cross is kind of revealed. She gives Saxon the darksaber, and then he double crosses her. He's like, well, you know what? We're going to fucking attack you now and kill all of you.
You're all going down.
Exactly. So we get a pretty sweet fight between Saxon wielding the darksaber and Sabine with Ezra's lightsaber. That was a pretty cool fight that they're doing.
Yeah.
And she even uses your beloved flamethrower, Cole, at one point to kind of throw him off, which I thought you'd appreciate to gain a little bit of an advantage. And then in the end, she wins the saber, but she refuses to kill him. And as she walks away, he tries to... A scene we've seen in many movies, Lethal Weapon, whatever it may be, where the person thinks, okay, that's over, and starts walking away, and they draw the gun out.
In the head!
It's just been revoked.
Nice one.
I'll have what he's having. Sorry.
Diplomatic immunity. Yeah. So then Ursa shoots him. Yep. And when she does, I'm thinking, so these guys don't have Beskar.
No.
That's true.
It's the PVC.
Yeah. Which is like a shame. Like, why don't they have the Beskar? That's like the whole Mandalorian thing. So I guess.
Well, they're lower level Mandalorians. They're not respected anymore. So
maybe so. I don't get it.
It's not wood, but it's not good plastic either. Yeah.
So she says she kind of lets it be known. I'm gonna stay here and try to free my old man, my dad.
Yeah.
And Fen.
Yeah. Fen Rao does as well. Yep. And they're gonna go fight against the Empire and the Phoenix Squadron. The rest of them, minus Sans Sabine, takes off and goes back into space.
My favorite thing is 6 episodes when we get to it. When they go back, they're all still hanging out in the living room.
What have you guys been doing?
Yeah, it's just like hanging. Mom's chilling on her fucking chair. They're all just standing there in the room. I'm like, they haven't done anything.
A lot of like very heartfelt conversations between her and her mom, going over a lot of wounds. A lot of emotional wounds they had to heal there.
We just cracked the Wi-Fi for the Imperial Network, and we're gonna get ready to go to town.
So episode 17 is Through Imperial Eyes. So Ezra is captured on a random shuttle leaving Lothal, and he's disguised as a bounty hunter, and he's got AP5 and Chopper in Chopper's usual disguise with him. And they're playing like Imperial droids, like they were aboard a stolen shuttle. It's not their fault, kind of deal.
Yep.
And so they get to the prison cell, and Ezra, Callus walks in. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? Mm-hmm. And Ezra warns him that he's basically been discovered as Fulcrum, and they need to get him out.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then Thrawn shows up, so Callus and List head to his ship with Ezra and the droids. And List is the guy, by the way, who got duped by Leia. Was that last season or was that in season 1? I can't remember now. Remember when he's got the ship? And she's like, I need your ship.
I need your ship. He's like, oh, what? And yep.
Same guy. He's. I think he's been promoted since then, but he's still clearly not the best.
This fucker's about to have a worse day.
Exactly.
He's not going to be making the the ISD,
right?
Who is the creme de la creme of intelligence?
ISB.
ISB.
Yeah, it's the bureau, so the Imperial
Security Bureau. Yeah, I think so.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
So then Chopper relays to Kanan and Rex that Ezra and Kallus aren't on the light cruiser anymore, which kind of foils their plan to come pick them up because he and Rex are disguised as troopers in an Imperial shuttle. And so Kallus and List, when they visit Thrawn, which is funny because, again, List is like, the last time I had to meet Thrawn was the Leia thing.
Yes.
So he's like, oh, no, I'm in trouble again.
That did not go well.
But they find him sparring with a bunch of dark troopers.
Yeah.
Right?
Cut to Thrawn, a shirtless Thrawn. Well, no, he was in like a gi or something, right? Like a little sleeveless.
Yeah,
tunic?
yeah, something like that. But he was in his little dojo.
Yeah. He's Miyagi-Do. He's having a little peek behind the curtain as to what Thrawn does in his spare time.
Yeah, just wrestles robots.
Yeah, clearly it's a tease for two things. One, that we're going to see those dark troopers later, but also so you understand that that Thrawn
is a badass.
fighter.
Yeah, it's called foreshadowing for you, ladies and gentlemen out there.
And then look who's there, Yularen, who we know from Clone Wars. He was the guy who was the admiral that always had Anakin on his ship. Remember Admiral Yularen? He's also the same voice that did the voiceovers for the beginning of the Clone Wars episode.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was him. Yeah.
Same guy. And he's also, if you want to go even deeper, in A New Hope, because he's now ISB. In A New Hope, he's in the scene where they're going around the table talking about the plans being stolen.
Yes.
He's actually in that scene. He doesn't talk, but that guy's
Tarkin and everybody, yeah.
Yeah, kind of fun.
Yep.
Oh, when Vader like force chokes somebody?
Force chokes the guy? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yularen's in that room.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's kind of a cool little tie back. But Thrawn shares how there's a mole, and he's feeding the rebellion info as Fulcrum. He knows the name. And Yularen's like, okay, I'll investigate. And Kallus kind of plants a seed with List. He's like, hey, it's Price. I love that move. That was pretty sweet.
Good, need you to keep an eye on him.
Yeah. And he swaps their little cylinders.
His little ink pen. Yeah.
Exactly. And then Kallus gets Ezra out of his cell, and AP5 suggests that they sneak into Thrawn's office to wipe out the records of their base, basically get rid of it, and then also get the clearance codes so they can get off the ship.
Yep.
And they send the codes to Kanan, and they fix the map so their base is hidden. And then at one point, AP5 goes, unfortunate, he's in the hallway, because they're like, you need to stand guard. He's like, oh, thanks. He's standing in the hallway and he goes, unfortunate news, Grand Admiral Thrawn is headed for his office.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Ezra's in there, and you see in Thrawn's office he's got Hera's totem setting up on display.
The Kalakari or whatever.
The Kalakari, yeah.
Wow, you got a good memory.
I think that's
what are you doing on this show?
So while Thrawn's in there, like they're all both hiding. Apparently these dark troopers are called assassin droids. Right.
That's
what
but
they
don't
end
they
up
look
referring
just
to
like the things we saw in
absolutely.
End of Mando? Yeah.
So Kallus kind of goes in there and quick reprograms them, gives them the old Sabine Jimmy rig, and out they come to go after Thrawn. He's trying to use the code word on him. What was it? His safe word or something?
Yeah.
Rectum?
Yeah.
Release.
Yeah.
Rectum.
So he's like, when he was fighting him and sparring him before, he had like gauntlets on or something, right? So his hands weren't like he was.
So I didn't notice
protected.
that because I was like, how's this fucker just punching
metal?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Mind over matter. He's a monk.
Right, yeah.
So he gets saddled with the dark troopers and he's fighting them off, and then Ezra and Kallus make their escape.
I can see why he keeps them like in their own little war room because boy, they took a fucking beating to his office, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Breaks his desk, everything, knocks his big old fucking spray paint wall over. He's got like all his little trophies from the rebels.
Yeah.
No, not those. Yeah.
So yeah, they make it to their cruiser, and then like Kanan and is it Rex?
Yeah,
land
they land
to try to save them, and Price is onto it. She goes to stop Kallus.
Yeah.
And List, who's been trailing Price the entire time, sees her and thinks she's the rebel.
Right.
So he tackles her. Yep. Right. And then in the biggest, boldest set of nuts I've ever seen on anyone on the entire Star Wars. Like, he's like, you know what? I could just leave and be okay. Kallus fucking switches the pens with fucking List.
Yeah.
He's like, I can do more good here. And we're like, no, bro. Thrawn already knows what the fuck's going on. Like, he's 5 steps ahead of you and 3 steps ahead of Ezra.
Yep.
Like, fucking everyone knows. So he kind of just like, I'm going to stay. He stays. And never in my fucking life would I do that.
No, you have the opportunity to leave right then. You get the fuck out. But he thinks for the betterment of the cause, he's going to do more damage there. And he says, I can List his fulcrum.
Yeah. Well, he thinks that he duped him. But, little do we know, there's a little powwow right at the end where he says...
Thrawn and Yularen are onto it, figures it out. Look, Yularen,
he
who's
is fulcrum.
not as smart as Thrawn, apparently.
Right.
Right.
But he's the head of the ISB. Is like, that all just came together a little too neatly for my liking. And Thrawn's like, well, that's obviously because Kallus is...
Yep.
He had his suspicions about him from Jump Street, though. Like, when they first talked about a mole being there, he kept asking Kallus really pointed questions.
Yeah.
He knew.
Yeah.
He's got
Well,
that
that's why he
sixth
was
sense.
kind of so quiet at the interrogation at the beginning where they had the powwow.
Yes.
And List was like, oh, this, and Kallus didn't say anything.
Right.
He
I
just
think
said he did something to the effect that Thrawn is always, on the right path or something. Just
Yeah.
kind of like yes man him.
Right. Yes, exactly. So that leads us to episode 18, Secret Cargo. So the Ghost crew is hanging out in like a junk field, waiting to pick up something. They don't know what. And they're spotted by an Imperial droid. Looks like another one of those infiltrator type droids.
Yep.
And they destroy it, but not before it transmits their location. So Gold Squadron shows up, and that's led by Captain Vander, who we know from A New Hope. He is the Y-Wing commander in A New Hope. He's the one who made the first trench run. It didn't go well for Vander, as we know. But they refuel and basically get bitched at by Gold Squadron for like making Imperial security tighter in the Outer Rim. Like, they're like, you're fucking everything up. Zeb's like, you're welcome. They're like, no, man, you're making it worse.
Well, you get to see a little bit of the infighting in the rebellion because
Right.
Gold Squadron didn't want to. They're spoiler alert. They're hauling some precious cargo, some secret precious cargo, and then
What
they
could
don't
it
want to. They don't want to like let the. They don't know if there's any like leaks, so they don't know if there's any moles inside the rebel squadron. So they don't want to. They don't know. They don't trust each other.
Each faction doesn't trust.
Right,
Yeah.
correct.
Right,
There
yeah.
seems
It's
to be
like,
a
it's
bit
like
of
Homeland Security and the CIA before they started sharing information.
Yeah,
Right.
Exactly.
So then the Empire shows up and attacks, and Ezra jumps in a Y-Wing and manages to be a fucking great Y-Wing pilot out of nowhere.
Gold 2. He's Gold 2 now.
Yeah.
The Gold Leader hits the Imperial cruiser with an ion cannon, which was like, I think, our first ever reference to an ion cannon because if you go back into the timeline, Ezra's like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
And he's like, it was an ion cannon. It like basically totally disables him. So that,
Well,
we don't
wasn't
really see that
one of
again until
the
later.
one of the early episodes of the Clone Wars was they were building the ship that had the ion cannon on it, right?
Oh, you're right. You're right.
So
I'm sorry.
it was like early prototype things. There's been a couple of them, but
No,
I think
he's got a memory now.
This is the first one where we see it like out in the field.
Yes, right. Yeah.
And they're trying. So the rebellion's trying to get the old Senator Mothma.
No, it's Mon Mothma because Ezra's like, did you say mom? And they're like, no, Ezra, we didn't say mom.
You be my mom.
Yeah. I must save my mommy.
Do you have any snacks in your little purse? String cheese, animal crackers,
Cheerios in there, everything.
some Scooby snacks. So Mothma is going to the planet of. Did you guys catch it? Dantooine.
Dantooine. That's right. Did you catch her little aide there? His name is Erskine Samaj. Did you hear the voice of the little dude who's kind of like helping her out?
Who was it?
It's Josh Brenner, the guy who played Big Head in Silicon Valley, and he was in the Marin
really?
show. He was his assistant
Yeah.
and all that.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
guy. Yeah, and
Okay.
that guy ends up being a voice in Resistance later if we ever get
Okay.
to watching Resistance.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she shares that they're taking her to this meeting, like you mentioned, and they're going to try to bring all the cells together, trying to kind of unite the clans.
Unite us.
She's in a bit of hot water because of all that fucking fire she was spitting on the floor of the Senate, just ripping Palps to shreds. Like she
And
really
just,
put herself
yeah.
in a bad spot.
Going out on the holonet without any, authorization codes, just telling everybody, that Palpatine's a piece of shit.
Yep.
So she's kind of given up on the Senate, right? You get that vibe from her. She's like, I'm done with
The
the
whole
fucking
had
episode,
enough.
she like disavows herself from it, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
Yeah.
pretty much. And then who shows up
I
in
don't
the
agree with the leadership.
prototype tie to ruin the day? Vault Scarus, right? The leader
Jester.
of the Jester's back. I should have went with Jester. I should have said, damn it, he's not dead. Jester's not dead.
Yeah, because they know they're going to go try to attack. Like Thrawn knows where they're going to be, and so he's like, we need to send these TIE defenders in. Again, Thrawn way ahead of the game, totally knows what the Ghost is going to do. Knows what
And
the
these are
rebellion's gonna do.
these are the ties that we saw prototype earlier, right?
Yeah, they're almost have like three. It's like it's a weird design, but they're badass. They have crazy shields. The
wings pop off.
They can jump to hyperspace.
Right.
Pretty sweet.
Well, Thrawn figured out that they're going to, what is it, Archaean Pass? Archaean Pass, I believe. A-R-C-H-E-O-N.
Oh, is this where he's like cut them off through the space storm?
Yeah, when you got to fly through the nebula, right?
Right.
You got to get close to the nebula, and they end up, Gold 5 does the little sacrifice move because the tie's got him like fucking dead to rights, and he just cuts in front of it, takes the blast.
Yeah.
What a fucking stud.
I love you, Mom.
Shout out to Gold 5.
Hera's like, we got to fly right next to that fucking star.
Playing chicken with the nebula, basically, right?
Exactly.
They're going close to the star, and then the Jester's following them from behind. And
so the regular ties just fucking disintegrate.
Yeah, they're all gone. Mm-hmm. And like one of them tries to like bail, and Zeb's like, "No, you don't."
Yeah, he fucking just kills him
down. Like, you fucking rebels are ruthless, man. I love that shit.
But they get through, and then Price is fucking sitting there.
Yeah, because fucking Thrawn, he covers all the bases. He's like, "Yeah, just sit out here. Go to coordinates 1.3 and
I do love the fact that like because we talked about this before, like space is, it's every direction, but for some reason you can't go anywhere but forward toward the fucking 3 ships that are waiting for you. Right. It's like, when there's a blockade at a planet.
The blockade, right.
Yeah. There's 7 ships over here. You can't possibly get into that planet.
Just literally stay in the atmosphere, fly to the other side.
Yeah.
It's gonna take probably a few hours just so you know. And then,
line of sight is not a real thing, apparently. So they get out of the nebula. They're limping out, and old Price is sitting there waiting for them. So in order to escape, they're getting pulled in on the tractor beam. They do the old desperation move of fire your photon torpedoes into the nebula, ignite the gases, ignite the clans. Boom, blows up the old Imperial light destroyer, and they escape. Make their escape. They make their escape
just on time.
Yep. And then Mothma makes that speech about fighting the Empire and uniting as an alliance, and Bail sees it, and Sato sees it, and even Ryder Azadi sees it, who's getting drunk at old Joe's bar.
Yep, having a little spotchka.
And the next thing you know, a shit ton of ships arrive. This is very much a "there are more of us, Poe" kind of moment.
Yes. Yep.
Did you guys notice like the plot hole here? Like, everyone just automatically knows where she's at. Like the
but no one did a minute ago.
Yeah, the rebellion knows exactly where they're at, but the Empire's just like, you know what? We'll let them have this one. We won't track that transmission.
Yeah, right.
We won't show up and just destroy the entire rebel fleet while they're unaware.
It's just like when we have like a gap in our show and I tighten it up so it sounds like we're really on it. Same thing. They had a whole like 15-minute window where they were like, okay, here are the coordinates. They're going back and forth. And
what are you talking about? I'm just going to tighten this up.
They needed that dramatic moment. They're like, it's not going to be good to show us sending coordinates to these people.
They should end the episode where the rebellion fucking flies off to Dantooine, and then fucking next thing you know, the Empire just shows up. There's just a bunch of space trash floating. I think we missed them. I think we're too late, Price.
The one thing Mon Mothma does is like every time she's going to go over the frequency and get everyone together, she knows that's Thrawn's nap time. It's the only time he can't. Sometimes he can't predict where they're going to be.
He's got to rest those bloodshot eyes.
Yeah.
Well, and she's voiced, by the way, by Genevieve O'Reilly, who's the one who plays her in live action in Rogue One, also in Revenge of the Sith, and she's going to play her in Andor.
Yes.
So very familiar voice there. Got to be a droid ep, right?
Double agent droid.
Oh boy! And it turns out after watching this episode, AP5 is best in doses. Not for an entire episode. Because after a while, I was like, oh, God, this nagging thing between him and Chopper is like kind of getting on my tits.
Oh, this is the one where they just keep like bitching at each other, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And he's also got a very I'm a homosexual at a rest stop vibe going where he keeps busting in on people in the bathroom. Did anyone else get that? Like, he's kind of like,
he does it to Wedge. Are you talking about the refresher? When he goes to the
refresher. Put your foot under the stall so I could step on it twice, please. Give you the code to start the gay sex.
He does, because the guy's like standing at the urinal or whatever, right? He just like walks in there and he's fucking like
he does a full zip up the second he walks in.
Yeah.
Well, AP. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but there was no other opportune moment.
Wedge, Chopper, and AP are on this mission in an Imperial shuttle to steal codes. It's for the attack on the Thal, which they're all prepping for, this big attack on the Thal.
Quickly, Wedge realizes why he was nominated for this mission.
Oh, absolutely. I like how he's like, AP5's like, Lieutenant Antilles, you're mistaking my attention to detail for an attack on your fragile ego. It's like, oh boy. Like he's like just needling him like crazy. And he and Chopper are going back and forth, and Wedge is basically on the verge of hanging himself, just having to listen to it.
You just can't find rope.
It's like, God damn it, man. AP5 and Chopper head into the base, which triggers an alert because Chopper's not cleared, and that alerts the ADT Alarm Service Center that something is amiss.
And then you get the fucking head of ADT, which is apparently the architect from the Matrix. I calculate a 7% chance that
Yes.
that droid.
This is one of they like
that guy?
take over. Which one do they take over?
Takes over
They take over
Chopper.
Chopper.
This is like the bad 80s movie with the guy in the control room, and it's all red room, and he's like, we will control it. Yes, okay.
For the purpose of my notes, I was like, he looks like a bearded Lobot, the character from Empire Strikes Back who hangs out with Lando. He's got the thing around his head.
Yes.
And so I started calling him Blowbot as I was doing my notes here.
Okay.
Do you know the voice?
No, but very familiar sounding. The guy, the Lobot.
Josh Gad.
Oh,
Oh, wow,
okay.
really? Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know that when I went around and watched it the first time, so I checked that out this time.
Big Star Wars fan. Good for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, the long and short of this episode, Chop gets basically taken
Basically
over
possessed
by this guy
Yeah.
while he's trying to upload the coordinates or get the passcodes for Lothal, right? And AP goes and actually gets the actual passcodes
Yes.
on the floppy disk, the 3.5-inch floppy.
They end up back on the ship, and then Chopper's being real nice.
He's being real suspicious, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, being like a human, basically. And then like the architect guy, dude, whatever his name is,
Blowbot.
tries
Blowbot?
to Blowbot tries to blow them all out into space, like opens the
Yes.
the bay doors, right? And then like Chop uploads a data spike, and he's trying to get the coordinates for the rebel base.
Yep.
Right. And then the whole time AP is telling them something's off, and nobody believes it. Hera has a little suspicion, but everybody else is like, what are you talking about? I think they're just kind of totally blowing him off. Very, very much a C-3PO vibe of when he starts, bitching about something, everybody's like, whatever, man. Just shut up.
Yeah.
Did you guys he gets blown out into space, and he's like, no,
Yeah.
again, like
Fucking
that second
drifting away.
time.
And it's like 10 minutes later, like, hey, we got to go get him.
He's out
Well,
there having-
I love when they
tripping on
recover him. And he's
shrooms
like,
out there.
I'm enjoying the silence out here by myself. And they show up, and he's like, no.
He's out there having like a
Yeah,
psychedelic
wasn't
moment.
there like some weird, like, I remember like rainbows or some shit, right? Wasn't
No,
there?
it was like little moths with
That's
wings,
what it was,
purple
yeah.
wings
I'm like,
flying
what
around
the
him.
fuck is going on here?
I don't know what the fuck that was. And then in the meantime, Hera's like, I'm going to teach these guys a lesson. They'll never. And apparently you can remote blow up an entire spaceship
I was like, why
by
haven't they
sending
done this
a
all the
virus
time?
through the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Like a reverse
So
pulse.
Don't you fuck with
Yeah.
me.
And that just like explodes the entire ISB cruiser.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
she sends
wow.
back an extra power surge.
She was fucking pissed. Hell hath no fury, like a scorned Twi'lek.
And
She
like,
not
was
happy.
Kanan not on the ship that time? Was Kanan there? There's a couple times
When she
Kanan's
did
running,
that?
like-
I
Yeah.
don't think he was there then.
yeah,
was he?
because that's what Kanan would be like. You know what? That's my baby right there.
She was releasing all of her sexual frustrations.
So
in
he's
that.
like, I can't see, but I know what she's doing right now. I've been there.
Sense a disturbance. in the
None of us
force.
can see in the dark, Kanan. Just saying. Get those hands going. You can use
Now-
the force.
Fine. Are we gonna go to the good one here? The
Twin Sons, episode
Yeah.
20.
Oh fuck, I love this episode.
mm-hmm.
It's definitely a little slow.
Kind of a dick tease, right? Like everything we've been waiting for, and that, but almost like, well, that's why you don't fuck with Kenobi.
Absolutely.
You
yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm glad you guys are happy about this episode or these last two episodes. But man, that was the biggest, most anticlimactic battle and ever.
You know what it is?
Oh, hold
Everyone,
on.
while they were making this video, while they were making this episode, everybody, that fight became famous on YouTube. Then remember that fight that it looks like a fight club, and there's that guy in the dreads, and he's doing 900 fucking backflips, and he's fucking juking and everything. He does a front flip, and the other guy's just fucking standing there, and finally he runs up to him, the guy punches him, and he fucking dies. That's all it was.
What are you talking about?
You've never seen that video on YouTube?
There's a that what you're describing is something from like a movie.
Well, it
I
almost
think,
sounds like Raiders of the Lost Ark when the guy's swinging the sword around and doing all his jukes, and then he just shoots him.
that's another one. But what is that? Oh, that was a viral video.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
I now remember what you're talking about.
on YouTube.
The guy just like Superman punches him.
Right, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yep, I know what you're talking about now.
We're gonna break down that fight when we get to it because there's a lot of stuff going on in that fight.
Oh,
that
you
I
got
wanna
20
talk
seconds, 2 seconds to break it down. There's three moves.
about. I will.
Parry,
I
parry,
will break it.
slice.
You need to wait,
runs up
sir.
to
We
him.
will get there.
Well, here's
Our
what
audience
I say.
wants to know how we get there first. Let's
Yeah,
build
yeah.
it up.
I think
Repo stay?
Filoni was like, we're gonna save this for live action.
Fuck.
Well, that's
man.
another question I want to get to too.
Okay.
All right, we're blowing that slow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
All right,
Sorry.
let's just go back for a second. So Maul is wandering the Tatooine desert.
Should I call Matt MP5?
You can.
AP5?
Gentlemen,
AP5.
we must stick to the program.
I'm gonna set him some colorful butterflies for his birthday.
I have an inventory of notes that we must get through first.
He's getting the accent. It's getting better as he does. So he goes along.
So Maul is, cuckoo.
Hey, do you know who that robot's voiced by? None other than Matt.
Oh, okay.
That's me. It's actually Steven Stanton who does Kenobi later. We'll get to that.
All right.
So he's wandering around the desert, and of course he's losing his mind. He's so driven to find Kenobi, and we get the real release of the Kenobi scream, which is what we use for our Maul Bag drop. That's the one. He decides he is going to draw Kenobi out by using the holocron to summon Ezra to Tatooine. So Ezra and Zeb are sleeping, and do we not have pillows? Do we not have fucking sheets and blankets in the goddamn Star Wars world? Why do these people sleep just in their? He's actually got PJs on, to be fair, but there's no.
To be fair,
there's no bedding.
It's a lot of CGI work,
Do we need to make a supply run to Crate and Barrel or Bed Bath and Beyond?
Oh shit! Yeah.
It's like a Taj Mahal sleeping outfit too. Like he's got the little like banded collar type of a thing that you would see in India.
Yeah. So he hears Kenobi's recording coming from the holocron. So he goes and he thinks Kenobi's alive. He tells everybody, I think Kenobi's alive. He's on Tatooine. They're like, no, man, he's dead. Bail Organa confirmed he's dead.
And then they're like, if he was alive, if he wasn't, or what did they say? If he's alive, would he be hiding on some backwater world and not helping us?
Right. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Which is
but
a fair question.
doesn't he go into, he leaves his room and goes into another one to find the holocron or whatever?
I think it's meant to be Kanan's room, I guess.
And Kanan walks in, right behind him. So I'm like, where were you sleeping, Kanan?
Trying to break that. We're trying to break it in, break the season.
And they cut just before you were here. Are you coming back to bed, honey?
No, he was actually starting to mess around. They were just in foreplay mode then. And then he's like, oh, I think Ezra needs me. She's like, not now. Jesus. He can wait.
You
I
just
can't.
took the face mask off.
Oh, man. So then, and Hera tells Ezra, she's like, you are crucial to the attack plan on Lothal because this is your freaking planet, man. Like, we need you. You can't leave. So this is when your deck officer comes into play because Ezra goes over and is like, hey, like ask him something about supplies or something like that. And then he just sneaks off and takes the train.
Oh, yeah, that one's gassed up, ready to go.
Dumbass.
Uh-huh.
And then good old Chop stows away and joins him. And they kind of let the holocron guide him in and lands only to find part of the Sith holocron. And then it's a drop, and then, but what's happening is the Tusken Raiders are shooting at him and they blow up his ship. And he only is saved by the fact that Maul comes in and like wipes out the Tuskens, although Ezra doesn't know that. He has no idea why they're now all of a sudden gone.
Yeah.
So they set out across the desert, kind of following the holocron directions, and Chopper runs out of juice, and Ezra keeps having visions of Maul, who's taunting him. He passes out and wakes up, and all of a sudden he's at a campfire, and he looks over and he's like, well, there's Chopper. And he's like, who the fuck is that guy? And it's goddamn Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yep. Gray hair and all.
And the next... 5 minutes are some of my favorite from Rebels, even though you guys are poo-pooing all over this fight. Despite Ezra telling Kenobi that they need him for the rebellion to defeat the Sith, Obi-Wan's like, you've got everything you need, which of course we've heard that reference many times later in the sequel trilogy. You've got everything you need, that kind of deal. But Obi-Wan tells him, listen, like the holocron didn't send you here. Maul manipulated you. So you think that you're coming because of the holocron, but it's not. It's him fucking with you.
And Obi-Wan kind of gives him the business, like undresses him a bit, lets him have it. Like, hey, you let Maul deceive you. You're kind of a fucking idiot.
Yeah, like, you left your people.
Boy, if this shit never would have happened if I was training you. Kanan's like, hey.
Kanan's like, didn't you train fucking Darth Vader, asshole? Where'd that go wrong?
The history of worse field training officers, it goes to you, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
So right about that time, Maul shows up and Kenobi sends Ezra on his blurg to ride north and head home. And this is where we get this great dialogue between Obi-Wan and Maul where Kenobi just keeps countering all the digs. Maul just keeps saying you're just a desert rat sitting here living. And he's like, look what I've risen above. And they're kind of going back and doing this whole thing. And that's when he says, why'd you come to this place? You're not here to hide. You're here to protect something.
Yes.
No, someone. And that's when the fucking Obi-Wan lightsaber fires up. So this sequence is fascinating to me because, and there is a great breakdown of this. I'll put it in the show notes and I'll send you guys the clip. There's a really great interview with Sam Witwer where he's explaining the scene and how, first of all, Steven Stanton, who's AP5's voice, he does Tarkin as well.
Okay.
He comes in the studio and is just kind of like trying to basically help out with running lines essentially for Witwer by being Kenobi.
Okay.
And then he gets done and Sam Witwer looks at Dave and he's like, that's it. Like he did the fucking voice. Like that's the voice. And Steve Stanton was just like, okay, thanks. Good luck, guys. And like just leaves. Has no idea they're actually going to keep that.
Oh, wow.
So I thought that was kind of cool. And then Witwer describes how the characters are kind of sizing each other up. And so the whole sequence is interesting because it starts with Kenobi does kind of that, like, the hands out.
Yep.
Peace sign?
Yeah, the peace sign. Like
He
old
does
school.
like this, right?
Yeah,
Because he does it in Clone Wars quite a bit. And I think he does it in the movie.
He does it in Phantom Menace or one of the prequel movies. He does that.
It's his fighting stance.
Exactly. But then after he does that, then he kind of switches to more like that ready position that like almost like Ezra was showing Sabine.
Yeah.
Crouching tiger.
Then he goes to the hands high Qui-Gon pose. And if you look at Maul's face, he goes, oh, fuck, I know this dipshit's move. I'm going to kill him now. I'm going to use the same goddamn move. And he does the same move, and it's all a setup by Kenobi because he's like, you're not going to punch me in the face with your little shot to the nose move. I'm going to slice right through it and kill you. So it's all a big fucking setup. And that's why the fight is short and a little anticlimactic because it's short.
It's tactical.
But it's so tactical, and it shows you just how badass Kenobi is because he basically just walked him right into that trap.
Well, he had enough time to sit there and think about it.
A lot of time in his
there,
hands.
If I ever have to fight Maul again, what would I do? It's like when you get burned in front of a bunch of people and you think of the comeback
he's alive
later.
for 20 years. If I ever have to fight him again.
No, but like, someone says something to you and you're sitting in bed later that night.
Right.
You know what I should
All
have
the
said?
scenarios.
This.
Yeah. You're playing it all over your head. I should have did this.
If I ever meet him again, he's mine.
He's looking for that like Schwarzenegger line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do I say when I kill
the
him?
day.
Stick around. Hits him with a knife. Sticks him to a pole.
Let off some steam, Maul.
I heard you have a splitting headache.
It's on commando.
Yeah.
Let out some steam.
But it's cool too because in the death scene, Witwer's explaining it's like when Maul gets sliced and all of a sudden his face kind of goes to that like, look on his face. It's not just a matter of like, oh shit, I'm dying. It's also he realizes in that moment, this motherfucker is so badass and just totally duped me into that. If he's here guarding something, it's the chosen one. Like he kind of realizes in that moment, this guy's here because he's the biggest, baddest motherfucker in the land. So there must be something pretty important or someone pretty important that he's defending.
I don't lie. You just gave me the fucking chills. That was brilliant. You should have made that yours. Yeah.
I'll send you the video because it's really cool to see him break it down. He just gets into all of it. If you just look at the scene face value, I could see how you just be like, that's all we got. But when you think about what went into it and the build up to it, and what it's pretty sweet.
The only thing that was missing, I thought Kenobi should have said something to him, like, as he's dying, the light's going out of his eyes, he's holding him, cradling him so softly, like, hey, I fucked your mom.
And Ezra pops up again. Mom? What?
Eat too, Papa?
At least Maul has a mom.
The episode ends.
Oh shit! I almost died right there.
The episode ends with Luke, right?
Yeah.
Is that the same?
Aunt Veru.
Aunt Veru. Yeah. Exactly.
But is that how close Darth Maul was to Luke?
Well, I don't think they were. I mean, it was. He clearly has marched on to another location, so it
it's
wasn't
a blurred
like he was
right away
next to it. But
Well,
yes,
I'm not. I'm saying, like, is that the same scene, or is that just Veru yelling at little baby boy Luke?
Oh, are you
in the
saying is that
farms?
the same scene from?
Yeah, is it like a bookend?
Or is that just her call sign, like how she wrangles Luke in from the?
Yeah, no matter what night.
Lights
The
are
street
on.
lights are on. Come inside, Luke.
Lights are on the moisture farm.
I think that's the same voice. I think that's the same.
Well, it was
clip.
definitely the same voice, but I don't know if that was supposed to be like that's how. Now we're there. Now we're like where Luke is, days away from meeting Obi-Wan.
Timeline-wise, you're talking.
Yes.
No, I think the timeline is what it is. Which right now I think we're like 2 years before that. or so.
Okay, so it was just little boy Luke getting called in.
Yeah,
Same
but not
thing,
that
though.
little. I mean, he's probably 16 years or whatever, 15 years old.
14. He was supposed to be 16 in the movies, right?
Was he 16? I thought he was a little older than that. I thought he was like 19. or something. Maybe not.
17.
Either way, he was a teenager at that point.
Okay.
It looks like he's a little teeny boy, but it's off in the distance and it's kind
Right,
of grainy,
right.
so it's harder
Yep.
to tell.
Yep.
But the thought being that that's shortly after he kills Maul, as he walks over and then kind of like takes a look. So yeah. The other thing that was asked in that interview, and you'll see it when I send it to you, is that they were like kind of asking for more meaning behind the death scene and like, oh, was there some sort of redemption there for Maul and all that? And Whitwer's like, I'm not going to tell you that. There was more dialogue originally between he and Obi-Wan that really like laid out what they thought that meant. But they were like, you know what? Let's not put that in there. Let's leave it up to the audience to determine what they feel about the situation. So I thought that was kind of cool too.
All right, we'll see it in the movie.
I will send you that interview. You'll love it. So I hope you have more respect for twin sons now.
Well, it wasn't disrespect, and I completely get what you were saying, but like visually, you know, you want to see.
Of course.
It was just so opposite of everything you like fucking like, especially when this guy's like, you know, gung ho that everything he's lived for was fucking finding Obi-Wan and killing him, and then he just gets stabbed right away. So,
well, and when you compare it to their first fight, which was so sweet in Phantom Menace, it's the complete opposite. It's so short, and but you realize that it's because Obi-Wan has such an like a mental edge on him that he just dupes him into fucking destruction. Pretty cool. Do you? I was gonna ask that too. As far as people have asked that. Is Kenobi gonna show? Are they gonna try to recreate that scene? Or are they gonna do something with it? I don't know that you can. I don't know that you can recreate that for live action. There might be some sort of Maul involvement somewhere. Maybe.
Well, we talked about. I think it was the last episode where we said, is that the catalyst that gets him off planet? And if it's not Darth Maul, like, is it an Inquisitor that comes to the planet? Like, or how does he find out? Like, Jedi's, they're searching, they're trying to kill him. Is he better off going off and doing something to make sure Luke stays safe on Tatooine? Right. So I don't know. Like, that would be kind of cool. Live action Maul shows. It opens up with that.
If they do anything with Maul, though, it sort of goes against what they just showed us in this cartoon, which is like Maul being like, "Oh my God, he's alive," having no idea.
But again, people had no idea through all of these shows when they showed him in Solo. People are like, "That fucker, how's he alive?" There's a lot of people who don't watch the animated stuff that don't know. Right. So to sort of relive it live action, to show people, that's what I was. Yeah,
could be. Last two episodes, 0 Hour. Our man from A New Hope, General Dodonna, and Sato are joining the ranks, and they're trying to put this big force together basically to attack Lothal. And Thrawn goes to Lothal and tells Tarkin about how there's going to be an imminent attack, basically probably on the TIE Defender factory is what he's expecting. Callus is spying on the conversation with the little fucking
Scuttle droid.
Right.
He uses the Roomba vent and goes in there. And,
again,
the
the
little mouse door.
Yeah, the Empire definitely needs to work on their vent structuring because they
it's too
leave
easy.
Some fatal flaws in the Death Star 1
he does
and 2.
he does that thing where he like closes off the windows and Constantine or whoever it is like, why so much secrecy? But yet the vents are wide open.
Yeah.
So Callus is he gets some intel and he gets it to the rebels. He tries to from his
piece
little
of the
hideout.
message. Yeah.
And that's when it's blocked. The signal's blocked, and in comes Thrawn. You get a pretty sweet fight with those two, I thought, which was like, I love how Callus is like, God, you talk too much. Just start going at it.
Got a little Krav Maga session in the close quarters of Callus's little hideout.
Yep.
Pretty fun. Pretty fun to watch.
And then Callus is able to break the little scrambler. So part of the message gets out. And Thrawn uses that, and he basically says that your signal was going here. We know that Dodonna's on this path. Where they intersect is probably where the rebel base is.
Right. Fucking smart every time.
Figuring shit out. That's like
straight anything
up math
past
stuff.
him.
Part of the message gets through, and they're like, "Uh-oh," because they only hear a little bit of it, and they're like, "I think they know where we are now, or I think they've figured out Callus." Dodonna's fleet tries to make the jump because the Empire shows up. They get pulled back by the goddamn gravity well again.
Every time.
Fucking gravity wells.
Fucking things, man.
Pulls the rebel fleet right out of hyperspace.
And then Thrawn does kind of a page from the Star Trek book. He just shows himself up on their screen as like, "Hey,
yeah,
I'm going to kill all of you. There is no escape. We are taking no prisoners."
Just so you know, I'm not accepting surrenders at this time.
That's pretty badass though, because now he thinks he's like everywhere he's built up. let them win. Now he's there and he's like, ha ha.
Yeah, gotcha.
So the rebels like fixate this plan that they're gonna send one ship to get through, and that's gonna be supposed to be Ezra and Kanan on the Ghost, right?
No, on the what do they call it? The Gauntlet? It's the Maul ship.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah, because Hera at first says the Ghost has the best chance of getting through, and then they put him. Yeah, they put him on the Marauder or whatever that thing is. But Kanan stays back to go have a little powwow with our pal Bendu.
Right.
Yep.
He's kind of trying to warn him, hey, Empire's taking the planet. They're going to kill you. They're going to kill everything here, blah, 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 blah. And Bendu is kind of like, I am Bendu. I am basically, I'm France. I don't want to, I'm not involved. I'm going to stay in the middle. I'm non-confrontational.
Well, I think it's more of he just thinks he's bigger and better, doesn't need to be involved.
I'm sorry, I meant to say Switzerland.
I was going to
France.
say, let's not put this on France now.
Yeah,
because Kanan is full on like, hey, Switzerland, don't be a dick. Like, you got to take a side here. You got to take a stand. He's like, no, man, I'm in the middle. Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
I am Bendu. Okay, I get your fucking name.
You keep saying I'm the one in the middle. He's like, yeah, I get it. You've said that. You made it clear.
So basically, Kanan, in order to get Ezra through the blockade, right? Old Satu has to do the kamikaze run, right?
Yes.
And your friend and mine, Constantine, who was ordered to stay back and be reinforcement, decides to seek glory elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Satu kind of lures him away and then just turns right back into him.
Yep, turns back into him and does the old kamikaze run, takes out the ship.
Yep.
Ezra shoots the gap, gets out of there, and moves to talk to old Senator Mothma. Right?
Who is?
Ezra. He goes out and gets a transmission.
He goes to talk to Sabine.
Talks to her first. She turns him down, says we don't have enough forces to. We're not going to waste our forces.
Can't do it. Yeah.
Correct. So he's like, all right, well, fuck you. I'll go get Sabine.
Yep. And this is where Sabine and her friends are just hanging out in the living room.
Right. By the way, that whole sequence of them fighting above the planet, and then also this, cut with the stuff on the ground, had a very much like a Return of the Jedi feel. Like even to the point where they were like, why aren't those interdictor ships attacking? They're just sitting back there, almost like Lando saying that when the last battle of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
We're just here to keep them from escaping. That's what they've ordered us to do. It's the same whole thing, same setup. So Kanan, is calling Bendu a coward. And Bendu gets pissed off. He's like, well, I'm out of here then. I'm not going to talk to you anymore.
He goes berserker mode. Yeah, he gets all pissed off and takes off. And then it kind of cuts into part 2, of episode 22. They cobble together Sabine's shield generator. Thrawn's on the deck of the deck. Give them a volley. He sends in the fucking...
Let's test their metal. That's what he says.
Yeah, that's what he says. Let's test their metal. He gives them a bombardment from all the destroyers in the atmosphere. And
that's right. Yep.
The shield
generators. They've got the shield that's like ready to fucking crash.
You get the sense that Thrawn's just like, I could just keep this up all day long, but you know what? I'm just gonna toy with him. I want to make a little personal touch. Mm-hmm. So he puts on his little ground assault Thrawn helmet.
It's like fucking dark helmet in the desert. He's got that fucking brown helmet on.
It looks like Veer's helmet in the Hoth attack too. When Veers goes to attack Hoth base, it's the same stupid looking helmet. I don't know who came up with that design. That's like a word.
It's like when you give a celebrity. It's like when you give a celebrity a jersey, right? He's got. I'm just one of the guys. Put the helmet on. Yeah, right. That thing's brand new. It's not even broken in. I can still see the sticker on it from the Imperial factory.
Well, and back to what you said, Jay, Ezra does get to Mandalore and is talking to him. They're still sitting around the damn living room in front of a nice warm fire. He convinces Sabine to help. And Ursa's like, okay, you can take a few ships. You can take as many warriors as want to go. And they plan on infiltrating the interdictor ship, the remaining interdictor.
Yeah.
Which is a fun name to say. Thrawn leaves Price in charge and prepares for the ground assault. And Callus laughs at him. He's like, dude, I've been in this spot before. They always somehow pull out a win. And he's like, yeah, I'm not a loser like you, so I'm not worried. Callus is like, fuck.
I like how they just got him on his knees on the deck. Just watch. Yeah. Just watch. Don't throw him in the cell.
No, he gets to watch the whole thing unfold. Yeah.
Yep. And then Thrawn kind of makes his appearance on the ground, is about ready to take the surrender from everyone. And Hera's like, I'm not surrendering. You have to take me down. Mm-hmm. And then old Bendu shows up. Mm-hmm. And you get the first moment of surprise on Thrawn.
Yes.
Like his face is like, what the hell was that?
Yeah, didn't plan for this.
Yeah.
But he's still just like, shoot for the eyes. Yeah. Whatever it is.
Still knows how to take the damn thing down.
Uh-huh.
Bendu's like fucking lightning like AT-ATs. He's destroying
Yeah.
like but you could kind of see he was indiscriminate with who he was going to
Oh,
kill.
yeah.
He was going after the Jedi, and
He just wanted him off the planet.
yes.
Yeah.
Yep, he was pissed. He was done.
Mhm.
I've been hiding out here for millennia, and you guys
Right.
are fucking it up. I just want to take a nap. Just get out of here. Kids, get out of here. Go play with your devices. I don't care.
Get off my lawn.
And then meanwhile, the Mandalorians show up and they assault the interdictor, and Ezra's got the cool Jetsons helmet on again.
That's what he
Fucking-
does.
Jumps up. She's like, I don't got a jetpack. Well, use your little thruster thingies, she says to him. Sabine does.
Yeah, I was calling him Astronaut Ezra. That's the kind of like old school astronaut helmet on. Like fucking Apollo 13 or something.
John Glenn Ezra Bridger.
So they're attacking the gravity well projectors. And when they destroy it, of course, it makes the whole interdictor blow up. So that worked out well.
Yep.
And then you get Callus. They finally send him away. They've had enough of him. So they send him into a elevator with 2 stormtroopers. And you know what's going to happen here.
I love the grin as the
Yeah.
doors are closing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
The
got
elevator
this.
opens and he's just like adjusting his cufflinks. That was short work. Those scums.
I like when they make the jump. The rebels are finally able to make the jump because the interdictor's gone, and Price has that look on her face, like, "Oh fuck!" Like I'm
Yeah.
in deep
Now
shit
she. Yeah. Yep.
And meanwhile, Callus gets to an escape pod floating out in space. They make the run through the lightning gauntlet on the Ghost. They get off planet and pick him up.
They pick
on the
him
way
up.
out.
Yeah.
Yep.
now. Yeah, Thrawn tracks down the Bendu. He's laying on the ground, and he's basically talking shit to him. And then that's when the Bendu says, "You don't see it. I see your defeat. Remember this." Like
Yes.
many arms surrounding you in a cold embrace. That is big time foreshadowing to what's going to
Yes,
happen
it
at
is.
the end of season 4.
Yep.
And then he
doesn't
shoots him,
like,
and he's
poof,
just
disappear. Yeah.
And he's laughing at him.
Yeah. Now was that like was that he did that on purpose, or is that like, strike me down, shall become more powerful? Right.
Yeah, good point. I don't know, because they show the gunshot, but they don't show it hit him or anything, and then he's just gone, and there's a bullet like hole in the ground. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then I believe it's Ezra has the last line of the season, says something. There's a future where we are all free, but it's up to us to make it happen. Type of a deal.
Yeah.
And the rebels are heading to Yavin.
Yep.
So we're getting real close to all the familiar original trilogy territory here, and that's it for season 3.
Nailed it.
Good shit.
Like all in all, like the series like gets better and better.
It does. Season 4 is pretty sweet. There's a lot of good stuff. I can't wait to get into it.
Yeah, me neither.
Just for our listeners' sake, I think we're going to do maybe a couple episodes, and then we'll pick season 4 back up later in the month.
We'll finish off season 4 just before we get into Book of Boba Fett, right?
I think so.
Looks like that. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So let's go to the Maul Bag.
Kenobi!
Hello there.
You've got mail.
Kenobi!
We got one email from the Ithorian Historian. Oh, and I should point out again, you want to send us an email? Happy to have you do that. We'd love to get them. facpapod@gmail.com. So please
Where
send
the
those
hell?
in and we'll read them.
Where's Laybourne been?
I don't know, but he's been laying low.
Yeah, you break his keyboard?
Maybe he's. I don't know. Did you talk to him on the side call? What's going on?
I'm going to tell you guys what happened off air. I put an end to the label recordings.
Oh, okay.
Silenced him.
That's where you were last Monday.
All right. So the Ithorian Historian says, "Hey guys, this is a bit of a long email. I was going to write in to complain about the lack of time you spent on the cute little butterball of testicle eyes that is Pipey, but we have bigger goober fish to fry. Do you remember Pipey, the force sensitive Ithorian?
Yeah, Ithorian.
Oh, yeah.
I thought we gave a lot of attention to him.
We gave Pikey his due.
Yeah.
I thought so. When
Pikey.
Sally Ventress and evil
Went
Paul
breaking
Revere
into
were
the building, and yeah. They were hunting down all the.
That fucking hat. Master and Commander. I love it.
Do you have the notes up?
Yeah.
So you're looking at the picture that he says, look at it. And it's a picture of that, like I said before in the Boba Fett trailer, the kind of the regal looking Ithorian.
Yep.
Odds are this is an Ithorian we haven't met before. But with this being Star Wars and all, I think we should waste time speculating that it is an Ithorian we've met before. Sure, it might be Moma Nadon, which is the guy from the Cantina in A New
Okay.
Hope. Or Doc Ondar, who's the guy who's got that den of antiquities at Galaxy's Edge. I don't know if you went to his shop when you were there
Nope.
at Galaxy's Edge. He's got
Nope.
like a shop you can go to. It's pretty cool. And there's actually an Ithorian like creature that's up top, like watching you.
Oh,
while you're
really?
there. Yeah, it's
Okay.
kinda cool. But if you have a sharp eye, it's Ura, The last time we saw Ura, she was protecting the sweet baby stuffing cream pie that is Pipey. This was in the year 3 BBY. Book of Boba is around 9 ABY. So my theory is, he's kind of got two theories. After she realized that Pipey was force sensitive, she takes one of two courses of action. One, taking advantage of the power vacuum left by Jabba's death. And then he says, I'd pay lots of money to go out like he did. You want to be strangled to death by a scantily clad Leia?
Yeah.
No spotter. Again, it happens.
She uses his abilities to take territory by force. Now a preteen during the events of Book of Boba, Pipey is used to assassinate his mother's political rivals and anyone who disobeys the word of Ura. Boy, you want us to believe little Pipey's going to do that?
This is
Pipey?
the plot thickens here. I'm digging this story.
It's a good theory.
Definitely from a certain point of skew.
Absolutely. His other theory is after Pipey is saved, she turns him around and makes a quick buck selling his force-sensitive ass to the Empire. She uses the money to grease the right palms and bounty the right scoundrels to take power in the territory. Either scenario, Ura not coming off real well here.
Yeah, not a really good person.
Not painted in a very good light for an Ithorian.
Not so much. And the Ithorian Historian is constantly defending Ithorians on Twitter at every turn. So I'm surprised he's taking these shots at Ura. Maybe he's got some sort of deep personal issue with Ura.
If he's gonna defy convention, he's landed at the right show. So
I think this is the one that hangs out at What's-Her-Face's bar in the Bad Batch.
That's oh God, what's that name? I can't think
What's
of it.
that guy's name?
Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah,
is
he's
what we
just
call
always
them.
hanging out at the bar. Like, this is before things went downhill for him. He had to go hang out at Sid's place.
Yeah, his name is Bolo.
Bolo.
Yeah, Bolo. Boy, that would be
Nice
quite
job.
a step up for Bolo.
Bolo.
Now, he says, and if you still have the pictures up, go to the next one. He says, now I know
do.
that might sound crazy, so I have one final piece of evidence. And then in the picture, you see Ura. He said, look at the similarities between the blanket scene in Ura's home and the markings on the wall behind the mystery Ithorian. Coincidence?
Oh.
Not likely. Now, this is interesting because I think you see this lettering all over the place on Tatooine. I think you see it on Boba Fett's throne.
Well, there is some lettering there, but there's also this wall. There's a couple of there's one with a soldier shooting.
Yes.
And there's a full wall behind him. So that just goes to say it is all taking place in the same spot.
Right. Yes, but he's making the argument that it's that it's the same wall. So I don't know. It's an interesting theory, and I can see where he's got that wall up in his house right now, like the fucking Charlie Day thing where he's got the pictures everywhere and the lines drawn.
Yeah.
But I like the theory.
Well, I mean, the wall is in the fucking picture next to the blanket.
It's true. It's a good point.
Yeah.
That's the best piece of evidence he's got.
Well, nailed it.
Attention to detail. Holy shit. He's like, what do you... Don't fuck with cats. He's breaking it down to that level. Internet sleuthing.
He's our very own Pablo.
Yeah.
He says, so there you have it. No need to tune into the Book of Boba Fett anymore. When is Kenobi? Just skip right over it. Thanks for everything you guys do. Keep it up. Talk soon. Your pal, Ithorian Historian. Thank you, Ithorian Historian.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was a great breakdown.
Yeah.
I like that theory.
I'm convinced.
Did you have a factoid?
You know what? I did not put one in here. So as a fact, I did not put one in there.
So maybe the factoid is that Ura is...
There we go. Stay tuned.
We'll make it gospel on this show.
Yeah.
And, to keep it right under 2 hours, just you got your editing to do, so you'll definitely keep it under 2 hours, but we're 40 seconds away from it. I'll just leave you to this right here. Thank you for listening to A Certain Point of Skew, and until next time,
Never tell us the odds.
In our experience, there's no such thing as luck.
we have spoken.